This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Town Commission on April 4th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Thank you to those who are listening to our live audio feed. Just a reminder that those that wish to make public comment during the meeting are encouraged to attend in person in our chambers or send comments to the town clerk prior to the meeting. Town Clerk Armstrong, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Cox?
Here.
Mayor Hvac?
Present.
Vice Mayor Herbert?
Here.
Commissioner Pugh?
Here.
Commissioner Bichelak?
Here.
Would you please join us and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we recently learned of the passing of one of our friends and neighbors and our previous town commissioner, Gail Askoff. I'd like to send our condolences to Gail's family, and please join me in observing a moment of silence in Gail's memory. Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
Madam Mayor, thank you. I'd like to add item D under presentations for the employee of the quarter. Commissioner Cos has requested to remove item number 28, which is the discussion regarding the glass at Town Hall.
Due to the length of the agenda.
Thank you.
Also, remove item number 4, which is the building permit extension request for 6273 North Ocean Boulevard, which is not ready for presentation yet.
I'm sorry, which one was that?
Item number
Item
4.
number 4.
And then I would request that we move item number 15 up to item number 4 to take its place, since we have, I believe, a lot of public in attendance to discuss that.
Okay, I'll now entertain a motion on the approval of the agenda as so amended.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
That is a motion by Commissioner Pugh, a second by Commissioner Bichelak. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Town Clerk Armstrong, would you please conduct the ceremonial swearing in of Commissioner Steve Cos?
Where do I go?
So he was officially sworn in 2 days after when the election was supposed to be held, but we usually do the ceremonial the day of the
This is secrets.
Okay, so raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Steve Cox,
I, Steve Cos,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of
and
Florida
the state of Florida
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
domestic or foreign,
domestic or foreign,
that I will bear true faith,
that I will bear true faith,
loyalty, and allegiance to the same,
loyalty, and allegiance to the same,
that I am entitled to hold office
that I am entitled to hold office
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
that I will faithfully perform
that I will faithfully perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of Town Commissioner
of the office of Town Commissioner
of the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida,
of the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida,
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. I'd now like to welcome Senator Lori Berman, who will be providing us with a legislative update. Senator, welcome to Ocean Ridge.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Is the mic working?
No.
Next month.
Can you hear it through here?
Put it up. Okay, put it up.
The mics are in the process of being prepared.
If you want, you can come sit here if this one's working. No, seriously.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, let's see if she can get it working.
You got the one working mic?
Yeah.
Pete says it's working.
hear you.
Hello? Hello?
You guys can hear that.
They can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Here, come on.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, you sound like you're.
Sounds like it.
I
All right,
like
can
this.
everybody hear me now? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, first of all, congratulations on your new commissioner, and thank you for having me, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner. So happy to be here. As she said, my name is Lori Berman. I'm the state senator, from this area. I was the state representative once upon a time. I like to come every year after our legislative session's done and give everybody a little bit of an update on what happened during session. As many of you know, we have a very robust year because we have a lot of money from the American Recovery Act. This year, we did a budget for $112 billion. Last year we did 101 billion, so we had a 10% increase in the 1 year. We did a lot of really good things. There's money for the environment, there's money for schools, there's really, Palm Beach County brought back a lot of money for projects. I'm really particularly proud for the first time, I think that I've been in the legislature, this is my 12th year, we fully funded all the cultural arts projects. So I'm really happy about that. So overall, we only have we have one responsibility every single year, and that is to pass a balanced budget. And we did do that. We have a second responsibility every 10 years, and this was the 10th year, and that is to do the new maps for redistricting. We did not succeed with that. I'm very sorry to report on that. We have passed new Senate maps and new House maps, but we have not agreed on congressional maps, and we are going back on April 19th for a special session to discuss the congressional maps. I gave a handout. We didn't have enough for everybody. If you want, you can give your name to my aide, Daniel DeLagrange, who's over here, and we'll get you one in an email. And they do have some of the maps. Under the new maps, my Senate district would still stay in this district, so I'm very happy about that. So let me tell you a little bit about, I usually like to give a report to the commissioners about what was done in terms of preemption, which is when the state takes over and says that you cannot have an influence on certain laws. There was a particularly bad bill, in my opinion, I voted against it, that it's called Senate Bill 620. And what it says is if the commissioners pass an ordinance and it results in a business suffering a loss of 15% of their income, they can sue the commission. So that bill is presently before the governor. You can ask the governor to veto it. I don't think I don't think we've sent it to him yet. So if you want to ask the governor to veto it, because the League of Cities and Counties estimate that it could cost as much as $900 million a year because of this one piece of legislation. So that they call this bill the quote, mother of all preemptions. There were people who said we're doing this and we're not going to do any more preemptions. I hope that's true. I hope that was the idea, that we're not going to do preemptions, because I believe that all of you, government closest to the people, are the ones who know what's good for your areas and who know what is more important for you. We actually did a reverse preemption, which was great for the first time in a long time. And that had to do with smoking on beaches and in parks. So now you, as the county commission, can regulate smoking in your beaches and your parks once the governor signs that. Hopefully he will sign it. Interestingly, unfortunately, there is one exemption in it, and it was done because of some people who had personal issues, and that exemption is for cigars. So, so everybody can still smoke cigars on the beaches. We can't stop that, but at least you're going to be able to regulate smoking on the beaches. The other bill that affects you directly has to do with campaign financing, and basically it says that if there's something that you are interested in that's a political vote, you're not allowed to speak in support or opposition to that vote. And I'm a little troubled about that because, for instance, like the half-penny sales tax that the school board puts in place, they're not going to be able to lobby for that. That's the kind of thing that we passed. I'm not sure why, but I didn't vote for that bill either, but it did pass in Tallahassee, unfortunately. The most disappointing thing to me about the session was we spent a lot of time on social issues, and we didn't focus on a lot of the things that are the pocketbook issues that affect all of us. We did not pass any legislation in response to Surfside, zero. So the bill that was proposed was to have inspections of buildings that are 30 years old, and the reason why it didn't pass had to do with once you get an inspection and there's recommendations on reserve requirements, there was a back and forth about how long those reserve requirements should be. I would suggest that it might be something that you might want to look into, in terms of the city of Boca Raton has already passed its own requirements about how often buildings have to be inspected. So it was very disappointing after the collapse of Surfside, which was national news for weeks at a time, and we didn't pass one piece of legislation. We also did not pass any legislation regarding property insurance. And many of you have had your property insurance renewals at astronomical rates. And unfortunately, we didn't do anything to address that issue also. So those were pretty much the most disappointing things. But the budget overall was good. There were increases for teachers, increases for law enforcement. So we had a really robust budget, but we should have done more, I think, on some of the pocketbook issues that are affecting people directly in their lives. And I always like to close with what I consider the silliest or maybe even stupidest bill that we did. And for that one, I would say that we voted to make strawberry shortcake the official dessert of the state of Florida. We still have key lime pie. Key lime pie is still our dessert. It's still our pie. Key lime pie is our pie, but strawberry shortcake. I mean, considering that we had a lot of big issues, it was kind of silly that we spent time on that and not on those other issues, but that's where we ended up. So I'm happy to take any questions that anybody has, and it's really my honor and privilege to represent all of you.
Thank you.
Sure. Any questions? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Senator Berman. It's always a pleasure. Next on the agenda is the Arbor Day Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling cost, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source of giving us paper, fuel, and countless wood products, and whereas trees in our town increase property values and beautify our community, and whereas trees, where they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Christine DeHasseth, Mayor of Town of Ocean Ridge, do hereby proclaim the 4th Friday of April as Arbor Day in the town of Ocean Ridge. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect trees and woodlands. Further, I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to promote the well-being of this and future generations. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Ocean Ridge to be affixed on April 4th, 2022. Yay! This was a wonderful initiative that was brought forward by the Garden Club, and we just thank them for that. Okay. Town Clerk Armstrong, will you please read the announcements?
Can we do the?
Oh, sorry. Yep. Town Manager Stevens, would you please advise us on the Employee of the Quarter?
Absolutely. Could I please have Officer Nubia Sabino enter the podium area? The Employee Recognition Committee recently met and voted unanimously to select Police Officer Nubia Savino as the Employee of the Quarter. Officer Savino joined the newly formed Aggressive Crime Enforcement Unit this quarter and is the leading officer in most statistical categories. She has not only been proactive, but she has also used discretion and offered education during many of her traffic stops. Most impressive is the fact that the county and other local jurisdictions have seen an increase in crimes like vehicle thefts and burglaries. Ocean Ridge has seen a decrease in these crimes over the first quarter. This seems to be directly correlated to the creation of the ACE unit and the proactive police work they have implemented. With Officer Savino leading in most statistical categories related to proactive policing, we believe she is largely responsible for this decrease in criminal activity. Officer Savino did not earn this award with one single act, but instead with persistent, quality, proactive enforcement and going above and beyond each time she arrives at work. Our sincere thanks go out to Officer Savino for being a team player and helping to keep Ocean Ridge residents safe.
Go back. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. You guys can always have.
And Mayor, if you will, if we could also introduce our newest officer.
Absolutely.
CJ, would you step forward, please? CJ St. Hilaire is our newest officer. He started on March 28th, so he has very little experience with us so far.
He was here on Saturday, though. He met us.
He came from no police department. This is his first law enforcement job, so we wish him the greatest. And he is well-educated and well-spoken and seems to fit in with the organization and the community very well. So we hope that all of you have a pleasurable encounter with him on the streets. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them for you.
Welcome.
Just one more introduction. I would like to welcome our new building inspector, Rob Flanchett. If you would stand up and come forward, please. Rob has been hired as our part-time building inspector and will assist the building official with inspections, plan review, and community standards enforcement. Rob is a certified general contractor in the state of Florida with a specialty in masonry and will work under the building official with a provisional license. So thank you, Rob, for being a part of our team, and welcome.
I like meetings that start this way. Okay, Town Clerk Armstrong, will you please read the announcement?
The meeting schedule for the next month is as follows. The regular town commission meeting will be Monday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. The town commission goal setting workshop will be Monday, April 18th at 5 p.m. The code enforcement hearing will be Tuesday, April 5th at 10 a.m. Planning and zoning commission meeting will be Monday, April 18th at 8 a.m. Board of Adjustment meeting will be Tuesday, April 19th at 9 a.m. All meetings are held in the commission chambers at Town Hall. The town will be providing the free shredding event to residents of Ocean Ridge and Briny Breezes on Saturday, April 23rd from 9 a.m. until noon in the back parking lot at Town Hall. For more information regarding this event, please visit the town's website. The Old Ocean Boulevard Pedestrian Safety Task Force Workshop will be held on Saturday, April 23rd at 1 p.m. at Town Hall. The public is invited to attend to provide ideas and information to the task force. The town commission will consider appointments to the board positions at the May 2nd, 2022 town commission meeting. Board of Adjustment, 1 regular member and 2 alternate members for a 3-year term, and Planning and Zoning Commission, 2 alternate members for a 3-year term. Interested residents must be registered to vote in Ocean Ridge and submit a resume and letter of interest to the town clerk by the deadline of April 20th at 3 p.m. Incumbents are exempted from the resume and letter of interest requirements. Please join us each month prior to the town commission meeting at 5 p.m. for the building official educational forum in the commission chambers at Town Hall. Details including topics to be discussed each month are on the town's website. Residents who wish to sign up to receive important town notification and Mr. Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call town hall for assistance.
Thank you. I'll now open the floor for public comment on any item that is not listed on the agenda. As a gentle reminder, especially since we have a very long agenda today, we ask that public comment be held to 3 minutes. And let the games begin.
Thank you. My name is Mary Ann Cody. I'm president of the Ocean Ridge Garden Club. And to my right is Mickey Farley Austin, the vice president. And we just wanted to, first of all, thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for enacting the proclamation for Arbor Day. That's a really wonderful event, and we hope to honor it and do justice to it every year by planting a tree. Secondly, we've been partnering with the town on a couple of events that I thought were worthwhile for the town's people to hear. The Ocean Ridge Garden Club has been working with the FAU Pine Jog Environmental Center on their development of native orchid plants to reintroduce native orchids to Florida. And to that end, the town was gracious enough to let us do a planting behind the parking lot on the south side. There's an area of land, and on March 19th, about 15 of our members came over and we planted about 125 of those native orchids. And it'll be a great experiment to see how well they take. Our prior experiment was done at Hammock Park, and that didn't work out so well, but that was county property. This is our own property.
And this is a research experiment.
That's exactly
right. We're learning.
And we have our members committed to watering these orchids until they take in the trees. So if any of you have an opportunity, it'd be worth walking around and seeing it. It's a nice piece of property back there that you don't realize exists. The other thing we did, and that was on Saturday, was Save the Seas Plastic Free, which has been the brainchild of Mickey for the last 3 years.
And the committee.
Right. And we couldn't have done it without the help of the town. So I'd like Mickey to address that. Thank you.
I'll be very brief. It was a fun day. Save the Seas Plastic Free was really about awareness, making people aware of single-use plastics and the pollution, and to awareness, education, and just maybe change one behavior. We had a great turnout. We had 11 exhibitors, all of them with a point of view about the environment and plastics. I'm looking at the clock. We had a lot of people walking in. We had a beach cleanup with over 30 people. In fact, we almost ran out of buckets and pickers. You know, when they came back, we had some Surfrider Foundation help us sort it. And Waste Pro, who sponsored the event with $1,500, actually had laid out buckets, which we labeled. So everyone there saw all the stuff come off the beach, get it sorted into its buckets so that we know the issue. Microplastics is the biggest issue. Anyway, it was a great fun day. We had music, we had food, we had lots of attendees, lots of people walking through. It was a pleasure. And I can't thank Tracy and Carlias. You should show them the award.
The plaque we received.
Yes, we.
Plastic symptoms.
It was great. Tracy and Carla were there the whole time. Chief Jones, you and your team were assembled. He kept us so calm. We had like over 100 people, but it really went well. And this property is awesome.
So thank you for your continued partnership with us.
One quick question. Is there a water source back there, or should people bring the spray bottle?
People bring the spray bottles. Again,
There's a hose that somebody's been using, but I've just been using the spray bottle.
Yeah.
Works like a charm.
thank
So
you for
how
asking.
many people actually
Just don't go
water
at dusk. You'll be
Not
carried
enough.
away by the bugs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Overwater.
Thank you. Two by twos.
Hi, I'm Ron Kern. I'm treasurer of Crown Colony Club, and to my right is Salem Meseroff, who's the president of Crown Colony.
You know me.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. At the last commissioners meeting, Officer Boyle, okay, I think she's in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, she approached me and said that Chief Jones wanted to community outreach program, and he wanted to know if we'd be interested in him coming to Crown Colony. Well, we were delighted. The board overwhelmingly said, let's have it. So on March 22nd, okay, we had about 50 to 60 people around our pool, and Chief Jones did a great job explaining the role that they play these days, the new programs they had, and results. And people were most impressed. He answered questions for over a half hour from everyone. He actually skillfully was able to sidestep one on the crosswalk. So, but I haven't. Not him. So the community was very thankful for his whole time that he was there, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you. And I was really impressed with his presentation, and I have to congratulate the commissioners for getting this guy on board, because he really showed his ability. Now, the next thing is, it was March 28th, Tracy. You told me my crosswalk was going to start. We're going on 3 years. I grabbed Mrs. Berman to tell her, what's up?
Yeah. So in my town manager's report, I am reporting that the crosswalk has been extended, the start date has been extended to May 9th due to FP&L not being able to get the supplies necessary to do their lighting. And the crosswalk installation has to be the last part of it, the striping on the roadway, because the lighting is going to be a safety concern. So we have to do it in order. That means we have to wait for FP&L supplies to come in. They assure us it's going to be May 9th. I hope they're right. We'll see what happens.
I hope so. Maybe I'll fly in from back from Long Island.
When are you leaving, Salem?
Well,
I mean-
tomorrow. Is that soon enough?
I'm
I'm not getting it done tonight.
I'll keep you informed, Salem.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any more 2x2s?
Yes, my name is Earl Jones. I live at 14 Sailfish Lane. Last month, I asked for some help in getting rid of a sign that's been put on our easement stating that it's a private beach and no trespassing. At that meeting, you indicated you'd have to do an investigation. I don't know if that's been done yet. That's why I'm here to ask. Now, in the interim, I did send a letter out. One of you I've asked to recuse yourself because of the fact you're living in one of the residents that has put up signage. Today, I may have to ask Mr. Cause to recuse himself. Today in the mail, I received an advertisement from his wife that has on the back of it a picture of a sign on the beach saying private, no trespassing. If you think this isn't expanding, since I was here last time, an additional property owner has put a sign up. At least it's on the dune, but the sign does says private beach, no trespassing. These signs are illegal. We can't keep people off of the beaches as much as we might like to. The beaches are not private to the high water line. I don't know if you've done your investigation. If not, I'd like to know when you're going to do it. And I really would like Mr. Hughes and Ms. Halbert to consider whether they should recuse themselves in this particular case.
Where was the house my wife had? Do you happen to know which one?
Received it today.
It's very unlike Val to go meetings. So a lot of times her company does work, but I'll do whatever you
I
request.
understand that her name's on it. And it does have a sign that says private, no trespassing, right on the beach.
Can you see it?
So, I mean, I would imagine lots of us would like to have that be the case. But in the United States, that's not the case. Has an investigation been done or one scheduled on this problem?
We have, I'm going to defer to Attorney Godot.
We are looking at a lot of issues related to signs on the beach. There's a lot of issues involved. As you mentioned, it's a public trust doctrine issue. It's also a private property issue. It's a conditional easement issue. There's a lot of property interests involved. There's First Amendment involved. So there's a lot of issues that we're looking at. And so we've got some research to do to come forward with, decision on the issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Oop, we got Pete.
Hi, my name is Debbie Cook. I live at 28 Tropical Drive. We also own property at 5500 Old Ocean Boulevard, Ocean Manor. My husband, I'm sorry, what?
Speak up.
Can't hear you.
They can't hear you,
Oh,
just-
I'm sorry. We bought the 5500 property in 2008, and we loved the whole community. And when we decided to buy a home, we decided Ocean Ridge is where we wanted to be. So we bought down on 28 Tropical. During the time, traffic has increased, as you all know, over since 2008. And our Tropical Drive property has really increased. And I think during COVID and the beach closing and all that, it even got worse. So as I was noticing going to Tropical Drive, when we crossed Woolbright to Beachway, the Beachway has a sign for public parking north and public parking south to kind of discourage people from driving over. And if they do, there's a sign at the end of the road that says, you know, dropping off, there's a $70, $5 fine. So if you go past Beachway, you come to Fayette Drive. They also have a sign reading no public beach access. This discourages people to go down there. The next road is Sailfish Lane. That also has a sign, official Ocean Ridge sign that said no public beach access. The next road is Sailfish. Again, no public beach access. The next road is it's Hershey. Hershey also has no public beach access. The next road is our road. There is no sign, and we get the traffic. After Tropical Drive is Briny Breeze. Briny Breeze has one-way, private properties, do not enter. So the logical way, if you're looking for beach access, is to come down Tropical. What I'm asking is that a Tropical, no beach, you know, public access be put on the end of Tropical Drive also. And also, we used to have a speed limit sign on our road that was removed. And traffic that goes down there goes down very fast. And I would like to see if we can put that back on the driveway. If anybody can, back on Tropical Drive. If anybody can give me a suggestion of who to contact or how I go about getting the no beach access sign, I'd appreciate any input.
You've already just,
Right.
I'm sorry, what?
you already just pulled the trigger. So I'd like to ask town manager and attorney, because I do know that your street is a private street. I don't know if that plays into signage or not, but we will investigate it and somebody will be back in touch with you.
And you're talking the west end,
I'm
Yes,
sorry, what?
the west end.
the west end,
Well,
off of
people-
A1A.
Yes.
I would like to
Okay.
invest in on A1A,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. Mrs. Bingham. Not you, you're not Mrs. Bingham. Sit down. Oh.
About dogs on the beach. Okay.
It doesn't work.
I would like to have dogs on the beach. I would like the commission to consider along the way, putting a policeman on the beach without a police costume on, so no one knows what they are, and having a stiff fine for any dog that the person doesn't pick up after their dog or is digging turtleneck. And what we found out many years ago, if you stop people riding through red lights, you only have to fine about 10 of them in a batch, and they don't do it anymore. And I think rather than trying to keep service dogs, retarded service dogs off the beach, you'd be far ahead of the game if you put a heavy fine on it and make money for the police department.
Thank you, Mrs. Bingham. For those who were unable to hear her, she had expressed concern about dogs being on the beach that were service dogs that are tearing up nests and their owners are not picking up for them. And she suggested that we have an undercover police officer handing out some hefty fines, and once barked at, twice barked at, and they may not do it again. Is that good? Okay.
So Terry Brown, Harbor Drive South, as I understand the rules, I can speak again when you have the lagoon purchase on the agenda. Is that correct?
That will be item number 4. We moved it up to item number 4, so hopefully you'll still be here.
I am having trouble hearing. That's one of the reasons why I needed to sit up front.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. We've always stood up front.
It's not working right.
Hey.
We've always stood up front. What are you talking about?
I tried to get
20
it
years
early
you've been sitting up
to
front.
beat you. But what I wanted to say, is that most of you know, or some people know, that our house almost burned down a year ago. Actually, it was more than a year ago. And we went through hell getting it renovated. And we moved in at April a year ago, and we've been hiding out. COVID was one reason. The other reason is we didn't want to dare leave the house. We only drive around in our street legal golf cart. And we try to, of course, abide by all the rules. But I wanted to, again, thank the mayor, the manager, and the police department, and Mr. Guy in particular for getting that done. We were so happy to get back in there and so happy to be there that we were afraid to leave it. And so that's why you haven't seen me for a while. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mrs. Kolb.
Hi, Stella Cole, 204 Beachway. I want to take this opportunity to commend the police department. I had a horrific incident at my house on Thursday. The police came, I would say, probably in about 2 to 3 minutes. Very, very helpful. Sorry, I'm still a little shook. The EMS came afterwards, but your officer, I believe his name was Alex. I'd like to commend him for a job well done. He helped me with the person who was having a stroke at the time. And to further, your department also went a little bit further. The next day, Officer Deb came to my house when EMS took this lady from my house. They moved all my furniture and everything was like a mess. And I was a mess. And she came to my house at 9:30 in the morning and I said, I'm not dressed. And she goes, Stella, it's okay. Let me in. And she saw the house array and she said, I will help you with it. And I said, no, no, no. And she goes, no, I will help you with it. So I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. When you are needed, you're there, and everyone should know that. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mrs. Cole. Whew. Any more public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Move on to approval of the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. So move.
Second.
That is a motion by Commissioner Herbert, a second by Commissioner Vishalak. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to regular agenda items number 2 of 27. Agenda item number 2, resolution number 2022-06, electing a mayor. Town Clerk Armstrong, will you please read the resolution into record by title only?
Resolution number 2022-06, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, electing a mayor for the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida.
Okay. Will you please advise us on the selection procedures?
The town charter requires that a mayor and a vice mayor be selected by the Town Commission members at the first regular meeting following the date of the March municipal election. Therefore, a mayor and vice mayor will be chosen at today's meeting. According to section 10.4 of the rules of orders and procedures of the Town Commission, the commission shall vote by ballot to the position of vice mayor. So, of mayor and vice mayor. So after you open up the public comment and we close public comment, I'll pass out the ballots to each one of you. And then I'll pick it up from each one and then I will read the results into the record. If there is no majority, I'll go ahead and do a second round until majority is reached.
Okay, and with the second round, is it of the top vote getters or is it a complete redo?
The top vote getters.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'll now open the floor to public comment. For such a lively group. Okay, I'll now close the floor to public comment. There you go. You're up. Thanks. Oh, got my name at the bottom. Okay. If you like Vanna White.
All righty, so I have here that Jeff Pugh received 2 votes and that Susan Hurlburt received 3 votes.
Okay.
Now we have to pass resolution number 2022-06, selecting Susan Hurlburt as mayor as shown on the ballot.
Okay, I'll now entertain a motion on the adoption of resolution number 2022-06. Oh, dear goody. 06, selecting Susan Hurlburt as mayor. I am going to break rank and I am going to make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
As a motion by Commissioner DeHasseth and a second by Commissioner Vishalak. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. I believe you're up.
Oh, so already, huh?
Yep.
Okay, then.
I gave you that
Let's
gavel.
see. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Carla, will you read the resolution 2022-7, electing a vice mayor?
Resolution number 2022-07, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, electing a vice mayor for the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida. And we will just proceed and do the same. So if you want to open it to public comment, close it, and then I'll distribute the ballots for vice mayor.
All right, I'll now open the floor for public comment. Seeing none. Have at it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yep.
Martin, you're all the way at the bottom. Thank you. Okay, so I received 2 votes for Steve Cos and 3 votes for Christine DeHassett.
I will entertain a motion on the adoption of resolution number 2022-07, selecting Christine DeHasseth as vice mayor.
Keep reading.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
There you go. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
Who made the motion?
Oh, yeah. I entertained
Who made the motion?
asking for
Oh,
the
you
motion.
entertain the
See?
motion. Okay.
So need a motion, people.
I make it a motion to have Christine
She's
DeHassett
gonna
as
make
the
a
vice
motion
mayor.
for,
I'm
I need
sorry,
a
I'm
second.
just blank.
I'll make that second.
There you go. Again, all in favor, signify aye.
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 Nay? All right then. Thank you very much. I will, where are you? There you are. So, motion carries unanimously. And on to
Item number
15 is moved to item number 4. Okay, so let's see, let's find 15, Carla. I think that you're up. Oh, Tracy, you're up.
Okay, so item number 15 is
Here we go.
the land purchase contract,
Correct.
option contract. The town is currently under an option contract to purchase land in Ocean Ridge with a 60-day due diligence period in order for the town commission to have the opportunity to hear from residents and either vote for or against that contract. The property consists of approximately 9 acres of land, and the contract price is $1,999,000. The deposit in the amount of $199,999 has been placed in escrow in accordance with the contract. In accordance with state statutes, the town has hired 2 separate firms to complete appraisals for the property. One appraisal came in at $1.4 million, and the other came in at $800,000, with an average of $1.1 million. A supermajority vote will be required to purchase the property above the appraised value if the commission wishes to proceed. The purchase of this property will boost the town's CRS rating and lower flood insurance rates for residents. It supports the county's request for rezoning in that area, supports the town's comprehensive plan policies and coastal resilience partnership adaptation strategies, addresses potential building, development, and flooding issues, and creates other opportunities such as utilizing property for preservation and conservation purposes and potential recreational uses to benefit the residents of Ocean Ridge. We have a real estate attorney here, Phil Crone, representing the town, and also our town attorney, who are both in attendance if the commission has any legal or real estate related questions regarding this purchase.
Can we put the picture up, please? There we go.
And that is the property in question, and that is to the northwest of Town Hall. And to the north, you see Inlet Cave.
All right, so let's open the floor for public comment, but Clerk Armstrong, would you please begin by reading any public comments you've received prior to the meeting?
Madam Mayor, if I may just real
Yes.
quick, I just would like to add, we just got the second appraisal today.
Mhm.
There's obviously a $600,000 swing in the appraisals. One of the options tonight would be to consider providing direction to the town manager to further negotiate the price. And we could special set it to the April 18th meeting, which is your workshop that's already set, and have it heard on that agenda if that is a consensus of the commission. So just an option to think about while we're hearing public comment.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
And can I get something legally clarified too? The combined appraisal is 1.1 million. We need a supermajority if we go over 1.1, or do we have this $500,000 swing that we can do either or, which would bring it to 1.6 million?
By statute, you look at the average of the appraisal, and if you're going to authorize the purchase above that average number, then you have to have what's called an extraordinary vote, which would be 4 out of 5 commissioners. So 1.1 right now is sort of our magic number based on the appraisals that we currently have. Above that, we would have to have 4 out of 5 to approve it.
Okay, clear.
Thank you.
All right, Carla, do you want to read our public comments that's come in by email?
Yes, we received a public comment from Trudy Webb, Association and Board Member for Ocean Cave Homeowners Association, 6550 North Ocean Boulevard. I am writing as representative of the Ocean Cave Condo Association. The owners at Ocean Cave are in favor of this purchase for the preservation/conservation of this area behind our property. I received one from Danielle Cusio. I am a resident of Ocean Ridge since 1982. I am in favor of the town of Ocean Ridge purchasing the land parcel in question. I feel it is necessary expenditure to protect the environment as well as the future of our town. And he is located at 6200 North Ocean Boulevard. I received one from Matt Gracie, 37 Coconut Lane. I am writing in support of purchasing the 9-acre parcel west of our city hall and rezoning it for conservation. For many reasons, I believe this purchase is a smart move to keep our town safe from overdevelopment and protect the environment of the natural beauty around us. I received one from Neil Hamilton. I am writing to express my support for the purchase by Ocean Ridge of the mangrove property bordering Inlet K. I would be appreciative if my comment could be read into record. My wife Maureen and I lived in Ocean Ridge at 1 Inlet K Drive for about 35 years. We enjoy it very much, particularly the friendship and of our neighbors and the general ambience of the town. We also would like the fact that the town is almost 100% non-commercial and that there is a continuing effort to keep the natural areas undeveloped. Sometimes keeping the natural areas unchanged has required some effort. The first time that this occurred was shortly after we arrived, when the Ocean Avenue Bridge was proposed to be relocated to the cross into Ocean Ridge to Coconut Lane. This would have dumped heavy traffic onto a quiet residential street, but also cut a wide swath through the mangrove. The relocation had the strong support of Boynton Beach, but it was heartening to see the residents of Ocean Ridge unite and prevail. The second time was when the Ocean Harbor Estates were proposed. Development was welcome with some modifications which were agreed to by the developer. The agreement resulted in less density of residency and leaving the portion of the property facing the intercoastal with the original vegetation and free of houses. The third event was the development of the nature preserve accessible from Curving Street. This leaves an area free of development and accessible only by foot for local residents. I mentioned these three examples to illustrate that the residents of Ocean Ridge have supported keeping the natural areas of the community as they are. There's also a strong case to be made for support of keeping such areas untouched for the environment it provides for the local wildlife, which includes birds, fish, and even the manatees. Carving off a major section of the mangroves would be extremely detrimental to the species that call their home. I'm sorry that I cannot attend the meeting this evening in person to present my views, but I have a previous with my children and grandchildren who are visiting from London on a short vacation. And the final one I received is from Penny and Gary Kosinski at 6000 Old Ocean Boulevard. Respectfully, we strongly support the town and the community's investment in the property, specifically discussed in item 15 on tonight's agenda as per the online package. The points outlined in the commission package clearly delineate the benefits of our community. We also want to emphasize that by purchasing the property, our town will own the option of whether or not the property is developed, how it will be developed, or if it is put into conservation bank. Additionally, if the town does designate the land for preservation/conservation, the town may be able to lease the mitigation bank rights to any developer within 100 miles and recoup much of the investment. Additionally, if the community does not purchase this property, the town takes on a significant risk and liability when a not well capitalized developer builds up to 30 homes on a property that is low-lying, mucky, unstable, wetlands prone to flooding and sinkholes. Our experience with Inlet K has provided a costly education to the town, given the issues we face when building on an unstable base. Should development occur, the town will have the liability of maintaining the roads, bridges, and other infrastructure. Losing control of this asset and taking on such liability should be avoided at all costs. Let's be forward thinking.
All right, that's all we have by email, correct? So I'll now open the floor for public comment. Anybody in the audience? After Rick Henry.
Good evening. Rick Carey, 39 Spanish River Drive, Inlet K. I'd like to just step back a bit and talk about what do we agree on is that as voters and residents of Ocean Ridge, we look to for town government. I'd contend in this priority, it'd be public safety, emergency medical, and maintenance of our infrastructure. Add to that, maintaining a reserves to help us in the time of emergency, especially emergency to take care of our maintenance of infrastructure and replace that. These are things that come way before the wish to haves. These are the have to haves that I believe we'd all agree on. If you look at this $2 million purchase, it either takes from our reserves or takes from future spending in other areas. And it's a question of priority. And I think that the priorities for this town that we have in the areas currently in infrastructure and in the future that we will have mitigate and deal with sea level rise are certainly the most important places for us to be spending our money. I understand the thinking behind acquiring this piece of land. This piece of land existed in its present state before there was a town of Ocean Ridge. And I contend that it's likely to stay in that state for a long time beyond this. There's a lot of requirements to get approval to develop that land if a developer had it. And even if they were successful, after years of processing and litigation, the worst case for this town is that 20 homes, multi-million-dollar homes that would become part of this community get developed in that area. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's really the downside as I see it. And I think we have to look at it in terms of where the important places is for us to be spending our money, and to use $2 million of our reserves for this purpose, I don't think is a prudent choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty's right behind you, Jerry, sorry. She's
Good evening to the mayor, the new vice mayor, and the board. I'm Patty Thrower. I live on that property right on the corner, directly across from this piece of property that's in question for purchase. I can tell you from 12 and a half years of living there, that property is the home to multiple varieties of birds, sea life. I have seen multiple manatees give birth there and have juveniles there. Unfortunately, I've also seen a lot of boat traffic hit them and disturb them, I'm sorry to say, but that is an area of the environment that I think it is incumbent upon this town to protect. I can't imagine developing it. To our previous speaker's point, I do agree that there's a problem with rising sea levels. There's a problem with building on these mucky areas. I am the recipient of the muck, and I just lost an entire sewer pipe underneath my home, which now will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair and fix. I can't imagine trying to build on that piece of property. But I do think, as a town and as the commissioners running the town, I think it is in all of our best interests to leave that property undeveloped for nature, for the environment, for the wildlife, for the birds, for the manatees, for the fish that we all love and enjoy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Harry?
I'll make it here.
We'll wait.
Terry Brown, Harbor Drive South. And I appreciate the comments from Mr. Carey regarding what you could do with $2 million in the town. I have some special projects that I would like to spend the $2 million on, but that can wait. This is more important. The time is now. There's no end in sight of the development and growth in Florida. I mean, everybody will tell you it's going to expect it to continue. There are parts of Florida from one coast to the other that are nothing but asphalt and concrete, especially in the northern part of the state. So this is an effort to slow that down, not stop development, but sort of control it. If those of you who are around when Amendment 1 passed, which was the amendment to the state constitution to purchase land, conservation land. Do any of you remember that? Just a few years ago, Amendment 1 passed by the voters of the state of Florida with 75% of the vote. So it's not like you're voting against the people. The people want conservation. They want natural area. You just heard it. They want protected land. They also want nice homes. We have a bunch of nice new homes in our neighborhood, but we don't want overdevelopment in this town. So the purchase would be a positive move in line of the expressed wishes of voters and residents of Florida, in my opinion. We're lucky to have a willing seller. I assume the negotiations will go well once they know the appraisals. There are many good reasons, and people have pointed them out, why we should purchase this land. It's part of a marine estuary. You can protect the mangroves. It mitigates flooding and sea level rise, and you can use it for recreation. My son-in-law comes all the way from California and paddle boards and kayaks all over the town. He's a little bit stronger and younger than I am, but he loves this area of the town. So it can be open for recreation at some point. By the way, the town is a certified bird sanctuary. Mr. Pugh was on the commission with myself, with Ken Khalil and Betty Bingham, and I can't remember the other member at the time, might have been Gail.
It was Gail.
And the majority of the commission voted in favor of making this town, the entire town, border to border, a bird sanctuary. And the young lady just pointed out that there's birds everywhere in there. You would enhance that status. You would enhance the status. I'm going to go over the 3 minutes. I hope you don't chop my head off.
We might.
The real estate values in Ocean Ridge do not depress when you slow down development. It increases. People love the natural area, the biking trails, down on Corinne Street. All the time I see people there. So it's overall a positive thing. And I think that you're missing the mark if you don't do it. And you got the opportunity to do it. You can make up to $2 million if it goes that high some other way.
Thank you.
And
Mr.
I'd
Brown.
be willing to give up a few bucks for it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Do you have anybody else? Please come forward. Betty?
I think the land is very, very important. I don't think due diligence has been done on it. I do not think it's worth $2 million. I would bring every environmental group, DERM, FEMA, whichever one that could control it. That is a cypress swamp, a wetland. It has the manatees and all the animals that they're talking about. All of those things are a good reason to keep this land undeveloped. It also has no access. Now, I gave Steve map after map from 1940 all the way up to the present. There was never a road except for the road, that drainage ditch here into that backland. And it would be very expensive for someone to try to run a driveway over. And I think that the commission should have worked a whole lot harder to get that much cheaper. Ken Khalil also got us Corinne Park for $0. We saved the hummock over here, the citizens getting involved and writing to everyone you could think of, because Boynton wanted it for a parking lot. And I think to spend $2 million is outrageous. I think even if I think the low bid was probably about what it's worth. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
Just stay.
Yeah, just wait. 3 minutes.
Stay behind.
Well, 204 each way. I do not disagree with this purchase of the property, but I really think you need to go back and just negotiate. Because I think what I'm hearing is the value, and this is what you were just talking about. I think maybe you need to come back to the commission and to the town and cut the price in half, or, really negotiate the price. So, I mean, I don't have an issue with it, but I really do think the $2 million is like making people crazy. Thank you.
Run, yes, run. Maybe.
How you doing? Steve Varga, 31 Spanish River Drive. I didn't know, I'm here in trouble for something else tonight.
You're not in trouble,
Get to me
Steve.
later. But anyway, my issue is, I live here, I'm a builder, I'm a developer. My parents lived here back in the 90s. Lived on Spanish River Drive as well. There's no reason to build that. It's not, we need to just spend the money, take care of it. It's cheap money. You don't know, that land could keep going up with their values going up. We could be paying 10 million bucks for it later. So I just gotta say, support it, pay it. That's it.
Anybody else?
I'm Al Kern. I've had the privilege of living at 4 Inlet K Drive for 23 years. I'm directly across from the land. I sit in my chair and look at that land. Every evening, I sit at my dining room table and look at the land. And I certainly would not like to see it developed or ruined in any way. I know there's laws that protect wetlands, but still, Inlet K was a wetland at one time, and it's still sinking, but it's still there. So I would like you to purchase it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce?
F. Sloat, 6550 North Ocean Boulevard. I live directly east of the property. I see it all the time. I'm definitely in favor of the purchase. I think certain things are priceless. Now it's up to the town to decide what they can afford. And I'm not going to comment on that. But I think Mr. Curry was the only person who spoke against the acquisition of that land. And I think in full disclosure, he should have mentioned that he is a vice president in charge of land acquisition for his company. And so I think we need to know that and, taking that into consideration with his remarks. That can cut both ways. My husband and I fully support the purchase of the land. And we believe that the town will use good judgment in regard to the spending.
Thank you, Ben. Anybody else?
You gotta let Rick come back.
Hold on. Let's let the first people finish.
Earl Jones, 14 Sailfish Lane. I seem to be swimming in the wrong direction on this. If you look at that land, I don't know what the average depth is. Say it's 5 or 6 foot today, maybe 7 or 8 foot in the future. And if you're going to raise it to be 9 foot above the water so that you can build a house on it, you may be talking 15, 16, 17 foot worth of fill. And if you have to go in and demuck it first, you got more fill. Now, realistically, who's going to develop when they've got to put in 20 foot of fill? It just makes no sense to go off and buy something that's going to be non-usable and spend $2 million on it.
Thank you. Anybody else from the floor? Joanne?
Zoanne Hennigan, 91 Island Drive South. I agree this is a huge amount of money, and I am extremely financially conservative, and I've consistently been an advocate of keeping ample reserves when we need them. But I really believe that this is a time when we need to use them. As Mr. Carey said, that maintenance of infrastructure is one of the critical things that we need to consider in our town. And I do feel that even though this commission may not be on the same page when it comes to environmental concerns, that some of those have been expressed,
I do believe you all understand, see, and pretty much agree that flooding in our town is a real problem, and if we can avoid it, we should. Flooding has been a consistent issue in different parts of our town for various reasons, and we've tried to mitigate it in various ways at a constant ongoing expense. Buying this property would ensure it would not be utilized for home development, but it would be a conservation area that would minimize flooding and provide a huge long-term savings to the town. And not only would this be a benefit to the residents in that geographic area, but all residents would benefit in helping to lower their cost of flood insurance rates. And we would control the number of single-family homes in town. Whether a developer wants to pay the money to fill up that land with the muck, I mean, we just don't know what developers might want to do. But to control this, it would help preserve the character of the town that we all love, and to not increase the traffic and the number of beachgoers. So I absolutely would be in favor of purchasing this property. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry? Come on down.
Let's see if I can make the microphone work.
I hear you.
Jerry Lauer, Harbor Drive, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions, and I'm not really looking for an answer, but I'm going to ask them as a question. It's just sort of goes with my nature. As I look at this illustration, I look at it and see at least 2, 3, maybe 4 parcels that are adjacent to it that are owned by the county. If I follow our land use regulations correctly, this is the parcel that's outlined in red is actually zoned single-family homes as opposed to conservation. Interesting zoning. At nearly 9 acres, this is potentially 27 homes that could be located on this property if it were allowed to be developed. My question is, has the town estimated the cost of infrastructure, roads, water? I don't think you could put septic in there, so we're probably talking sewer lines, water lines, drainage. On many of the adjacent streets, there have to be drainage pumps to keep pace with seasonal flooding. Has there been any estimate put as to what the annual cost to the town would be to keep pace with the infrastructure needs that a development might happen if it were allowed there? And then to come to one other question, I'm sorry to have two. If the town were to acquire this land and the county were to do as it's done in other locations, would the town have the ability to resell this land to the county so that it would become part of a larger conservation plan? Thank you all.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public would like to speak before I close it? Beth, you already had your 3 minutes, right?
F Sloat, 6550 North Ocean Boulevard. Nobody has mentioned the parcel of land that was acquired by a development company. I don't have the information right in front of me, but I know there's been a lot of trouble. And the town has worked very hard to prevent development there. And I would appreciate if the town would address that, or you cannot address that because they're still in litigation.
Yes,
right.
we're not
But
talking
that's
about
costing a lot of money too. And to the extent to which that can be prevented, it would be very helpful to all of us.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All righty then. Are we done? All right, I am going to close the floor to public comment. I will open it for commission discussion, but let's take into, so we don't just go on and on and on, what Christy was telling us about the fact of the 2 appraisals and possibly changing everything and opening up for negotiations, therefore moving it down the line. So would you like to give us something more specific that could keep the
Commission on track here?
Well, what I'll say is this, is we've heard that there's not currently a backup offer. We have a due diligence period that goes through, I believe, April 23rd.
Okay.
You have a special meeting on April 18th. So what this means is that the property's under contract with the town to April 23rd. So if you want to see if there's any room to move on the price
For negotiations.
we could explore that based on the appraisals. Obviously, if they don't move on the price, if we come back and the desire is still to move forward with purchase, it will have to be the extraordinary vote.
Right. All right, so let's go down the line. Martin?
Can we start with
sorry.
establishing just one fact? What are our reserves right now?
7.3
Yeah.
million.
Over 7, right?
So highest price
Which
is
is
199.
40 some percent.
No.
Or higher, actually.
Higher.
Out of an $8 million
40 we
budget.
were supposed to have, we
Yeah.
have 60 or something.
Right, so Martin,
60%
where do you think
after.
about Martin, what do you think about
So
suggestion
here's
to
my
her?
thought.
Where do you think?
My main concern right now is that the appraisals just came in.
Correct.
I haven't seen the appraisal. I would like to see the appraisal. Not right now.
Good try.
I think my reading material for today is sufficient.
Plenty.
But so I would not like to have a vote on this right now. I would like to defer this to the 18th when we have our budget meeting and see if we can by then have a little bit of a clearer picture. I hear all of the comments, and they are every single one of those comments is valid. Every single one of those comments is good. To the point that Rick is his acquisitions in his company, I must say that actually for me speaks in his favor because he has an extensive knowledge as to purchasing properties and comes from that side. My initial, as with everybody else here, I think, was that we're all in favor of protecting this town and protecting the natural beauty of this town. And this property is an extraordinary opportunity for us to have as a town-owned property. So my leaning right now is definitely in favor of purchasing that property. But I would like to see both of the appraisals and see how we can use that to potentially negotiate on the price and make this more equitable for us.
Okay,
as a
Steve?
town.
So we wouldn't be sitting here arguing if this was $25,000. So it's 2 million. That's the problem here. And somebody mentioned town's due diligence. Town's due diligence was horrible, but the town isn't a real estate firm. So I would suggest as we move forward, you get a more experienced real estate professional in this type of property involved ASAP. Number one, when we had our staff meetings, we did not have any appraisals to look at. We just knew the 2 million figure. Number two, we had no surveys. And now Christie's man said dig out a survey from 1995.
The survey was from the seller, and it was originally done in 1980. It was updated in 2001 with elevation of the main roads.
With elevations, not with surveys. So this troubles me. The town was moving forward buying a piece of property that didn't have a survey until I asked for a survey. That to me is nuts. There is no access to this property. It keeps on getting overlooked. People are coming up here saying they're going to build 27 homes. There is no access to this property. It's going to go to litigation, chances are, if somebody buys it. $2 million, okay? We've got flooding all over Spanish River. We've got flooding all over Hudson. We can buy properties on Spanish River and Hudson and take care of those neighborhoods. But I think there's a piece of property on Hudson, and somebody here is in real estate, I'm sure. They could be bought right now by the town for something like $175,000 and end the flooding at the west side of Hudson. The main point here is we now know that what's been left out of this discussion is that we were topped. Our offer was topped. I think it was topped at 2,223 something by a builder. He calls Tracy within 3 days and says, okay, great, I bought the land, I want access now through town hall. And Tracy says, no. And then I assume the lawyer got involved, our real estate professional got involved. The builder pulls out. He immediately cancels his contract because he can't access the land as easily or if at all as he thought. So other suitors to this property should be alerted by the town immediately that the town will not provide access to this. We got to go back to the sellers, and we got to send a letter to the seller and to the seller's attorney, the seller's real estate agent, saying that we will not. So we will not grant access. So then they need to provide that to any potential buyers. Then, during the course of that, we now negotiate. We know that the property from 2 outside appraisers, and God bless whoever appraised swampland. I don't know how you do that. We got it at 1-1, right? Like, who is going to buy this knowing that there's no access? They're going to have to spend, I don't know, $400,000 or $500,000 on getting access. So I think we should go back with what I just outlined and negotiate this from the start. But it certainly sounds to me like we need to get another, and I'm not casting aspersions because no one up here is in real estate. We need to get an outside expert, a Ken Khalil type. I doubt he'll do it, but somebody that is more proficient in these kind of negotiations and save ourselves $1 million, $1.5 million.
Are you for buying it with a better price? Is that what you're coming down?
Yes, but at a
Is that where we're
dramatically
going?
better price.
All right, okay. That's, I just wanted to figure where we're going. Okay, Christine, what do you think of?
Well, it's no surprise to anybody in the audience or in the dais that I am a preservationist. That is the little coalition that I've run for 15 years. I don't think that opportunities like this come along very often, if at all. I think you are naive to think that mangroves cannot be built on. It happens day in, day out. Army Corps of Engineers is not our steward. We have to protect ourselves. We have healthy reserves, and I am the first never to want to spend reserves. So I don't do this very lightly. I think it's naive to think people won't bring in 20 feet of fill. 15 feet of fill was brought in on Briny Breezes on those 12 townhouses in between Briny Breezes and Surf Pocket, and it's got immense flooding on either side. So if there's a will, there's a way. So, and we've also been in litigation forever on easement by way of necessity. That's not going to go away whether we have it. It'll only go away if we own this property versus anybody else owning this property. So our taxable value in this town is $1.1 billion as of 2021, and that steadily we have seen a 4 to 5% increase in that every year, and I don't doubt that we won't have that again this year. So I'm fiscally conservative. I don't like the price point, but I would like to take a vote tonight to give the town manager the opportunity to go back and give a maximum amount of what we would pay and continue the negotiations. But I am in full favor, and I think if we defer the decision, we're just opening up Pandora's box for somebody else.
I'm kind of in agreement. I think we should do consensus. I don't know if we need to put a
Right,
number
well,
on
let
it.
me just see what Jeff has to say, and then we can discuss where to go from there. Jeffrey.
When is the 60-day due
April
diligence period
25th?
over?
It's April
April
23rd, or probably, I think that might be a Saturday, it might roll over to Monday, but we don't want to play it close to that
Too
time
close.
frame. So if we were to defer to April 18th meeting, that would give us plenty of time that if we don't want to move forward, we could cancel the contract.
All right, well, I mean, the town, I agree with the infrastructure part, but I also agree that the town has a responsibility for environmental infrastructure. Very important, because if you travel anywhere south in Broward County, they built on every piece of land you can possibly imagine. And if you think that somebody's not going to have enough deep pockets to build that road, build seawalls all the way around there, fill that in, and put houses on there, let's face it, those houses, 27 homes, $5 million a pop, do the math. I mean, that land will get developed if we don't take care of it. Now, the other thing is we'd like to get the 2 county pieces. Are they conservative land now, conservation land now?
No, they have submitted for rezoning.
So that's something we need to really lobby our county commissioners to make that conservation land. So we actually preserve an area that's very unique
in the town of Ocean Ridge. It is a wetland. It's been a wetland for, in fact, Mr. Priest, he was a deacon in the church I went to in Boynton Beach. He was originally offered us that land for $150,000. And that was a long time ago. So you have a second opportunity to really enhance the town green space and not just mow over everything and build concrete homes. I mean, that's really, this is a great opportunity for us. However, I believe what Steve is saying, because there is a due diligence we have to do. We have to make sure that whatever we're doing, and we're doing we're protecting the town of Ocean Ridge residents from being overburdened with a price that actually may be more than is what is worth. I believe that somebody professional real estate would be a very good idea, to negotiate for us, or a real estate attorney.
Or a mitigation land attorney.
What I'm saying is, though, that the land itself is much more valuable to Ocean Ridge in the sense of the future going forward. I mean, some of us, been here for a long time and hopefully be here for a long time, but what about the town 20 years from now? And that's really that is what the plan really is how do we project this town going forward and plan on the future? And that, to me, the plan on the future is having green space that you can actually see and allowing things to grow. And this way, those two areas, that whole area there, the amount of fish and wildlife that's the nursery for everything that's ending up in the ocean. So it's really something that we have to consider buying. Again, it's the environmental infrastructure is key, because we have it all over town. Our town has more parks than most towns this size have. You think about all the beach parks we have, so we maintain these green spaces. So if we developed it, is it really worth developing for what we're gaining and what we're losing in the green space? I don't think so. So
Okay.
I'm saying we should really
You're
look
on board.
into.
Tracy, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to mention that we are currently working with a real estate
Exactly.
Oh, you are?
But,
Yes,
but is it
yes.
the same one that you've been working with for the months?
Yes.
Well, that hasn't fared too well. That's
Let
what
me
I'm
just-
saying.
Okay,
let me
wait.
just clarify something. When we found out about this property being listed, Tracy was the first one to jump on it.
Exactly.
And when she jumped on it, she found out there were multiple offers for this property. And if you recall, it was originally listed, I believe, for just under $1 million. When Tracy contacted them, it had then just jumped.
No, it
No.
was originally listed for
595. Right.
million.
Right.
And then when the town got involved,
It jumped up higher. So we
Because of all
had
the-
actually
Right, another bit.
a very short period to do due diligence and try to get this under contract so nobody else could. As you mentioned, there was one buyer before us who got it on a much higher price under contract, contacted Tracy, and apparently he didn't do his due diligence and
Right.
realized there was no current access available. What we then were able to do when that offer dropped out was to get in and get the property under contract, which we have secured right now. Without our real estate professional we're using now, that wouldn't have happened because we had to act very quickly. And we did. So we have it under contract now. We have it under contract until April 23rd. So if we can be given more time to do further due diligence and hopefully get the price down to much closer to the appraisals we receive, we'll be glad to do that.
Yep.
But we are working with professionals who I think have been very responsive. I don't know if you know how hard it is to get an appraisal right now, especially of a property that doesn't have access to it. So they had to both go out on boats
Exactly.
and take pictures, and it's difficult to find comparables to this.
Right.
So, and we will provide those appraisals. They're each over 70 pages long, these appraisals, so that every commissioner will be able to see
Right.
what's involved.
Okay, so I think we're all basically on the same page. We've got our fingers crossed here that we might be able to negotiate for a better price closer to the appraisals. We're going to need a little time for that, but we've got some time because our contract is holding them till the 25th, which allows us to meet on the 18th where we could possibly make a decision. So that was kind of what I'm hearing, right? So is anybody interested in making a motion to, what would we say? We would say defer to the April 18th to make the final decision on purchase, not purchase, which allows you all the time to do the best you can to work on our pocketbooks?
Yeah, I would make the motion to allow myself and
And
Christine to do
Christine
some
to
negotiating.
continue negotiating because the appraisals just came in, correct?
Correct.
Right. We've been kind of, this happened very quickly. And I'm so thrilled that we have had this opportunity to have this, and from what I hear, most people are as well, that we have the opportunity to protect this wetland here. So anybody want to throw a motion out there? You want to craft one there for, if y'all are in the same, are y'all in the same?
I make a motion to defer the final decision on the land purchase until the April 18th.
Can I interrupt your motion?
Please go ahead.
Who's the real estate attorney for the town that's here?
There he is.
If we do April 18th and do a vote, is that gonna be enough time for you to execute?
Depends on what.
We expire on the 23rd.
Shall we have him come up? Tracy, can we have him come up? Please come up, introduce yourself. You don't have to run. This is a biggie.
Mayor, Commissioners, Philip Throne. It depends on how quickly we could close. There's no issues with the property from a title standpoint or any other standpoint as far as getting the property closed quickly once the purchase price is worked out. So
that's what I'm getting at. You see, we're not gonna have a purchase price agreed upon until April 18th. Our contract expires April 23rd.
Yes.
So as part of this, we should also be asking for a 45-day extension on the contract, right?
Do we need to close on the 23rd?
No,
or
we're not closing.
No, we have to close by.
That's our
the-
contract.
You have to close by the
the due
23rd.
diligence
All the
on
way
the
to
That's
contract.
our
contract.
contract.
It's the same.
Yes.
Wow.
So we need to get a contract extension.
I would probably recommend a contract extension if not.
Or we could
Or-
set a special meeting for next week.
Can you do that?
We can do it.
We
Yeah,
can set a special
Really?
we
meeting.
can do it. Sure.
If you're available.
Without
Right. If
advertising?
you're making some forward motion on the price, this is just down to negotiation on the price because everybody seems to at least be on the same page with preservation. It's the price that's our sticking point here.
Yeah, and kind of how we got here and where we are. The property was listed for a while back for 1.6 million.
Right.
When we were approached about purchasing the property and obtaining the parcel, our initial offer was the 1.6, even though they listed it up to the 1.9. When our offer went in, we were advised that there was multiple interest in the property and at least one offer that was significantly over asking. So that's how we arrived at the 1.9, which was the offer, which was the listing amount with the escalation clause. When it appeared that that contract wasn't going to go through, we were back in contact with the listing agent and we went back to the 1.99 as the backup offer for the property.
Correct.
So that's how we got to where we
So that's where we are.
The
So-
negotiations.
So back to my question. We're pushing it to the 18th. That's ridiculous. We have 5 days to close a property, right?
Well, if you do a special set next.
That'll give you enough time?
Yeah.
Right, we discussed that, right, in staff meeting, this was, we were talking.
How do you do that without sunshine, without a notice of a public meeting?
If you post a notice tomorrow, that's
That's
plenty of
right.
That's
reasonable
plenty of
notice.
time?
Yeah,
Okay.
We need
Absolutely.
7 days public.
Okay, so Martin,
There's no set time frame that you have to do under the sunshine. It has to be reasonable. And based on the discussion we've had here tonight, this would be considered part of that reasonable notice.
discussion.
So we could set it for next week.
So Martin, you want to change your,
Yeah, I'm gonna change that then. And any particular days that somebody is not here that, because we need to set a date to it.
okay,
Somebody needs to show up.
right,
Well, maybe not. The guy who's gonna
You wanna
all right.
look at your
So,
calendars quick?
We'll slash some tires.
so we're talking for next week, correct? Christie?
Yes.
Tracy, next
Will we do
week?
Monday evening, Monday afternoon?
Monday evening is garden
5 o'clock?
Okay, Monday evening's garden
No.
club, which is 2 of us. How about Tuesday evening? Anybody looking good on Tuesday?
No,
Oh, there goes that one.
Oh, can you change?
why does it have to be in the evening?
It doesn't.
Oh, I don't care. It can be in the morning
Well, you
too.
have to have public comment.
Well,
So you
it
don't
is
wanna
what
do
it
it
is.
Too
We're only-
early in the day. You want to do it sometime where public wants to come voice
Are
your
you-
opinion as you.
Are you free Tuesday at all? Is that Tuesday was?
Tuesday night is an Ocean Club meeting.
How about
Conducting.
Tuesday day? Anybody?
Tuesday day.
How's anybody looking at Tuesday during the day?
I
I
think
know you're here.
do I have the right date? The 12th, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
12th look good for everybody?
The only time I'm gone is
What would be a good time that you,
anytime afternoon works for me.
Let's see, I can't do it
Anytime
after 4
afternoon,
p.m.
too.
okay, so how about at 1 o'clock? How about 1 o'clock, Tuesday, 1
1
o'clock, the 12th? Does that sound good to you?
Jeff's
Martin?
taking his.
Jeff?
Jeff, no?
Yeah, can we be out here in an hour?
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
I think so, right?
be out here in
Just
5
move
minutes.
forward. No grand outstanding?
Yes. All right, so Tuesday.
How about you,
make a-
Philip? Good with you?
Make it work.
There you go.
I make a
Okay.
motion to defer item number 15, the land purchase, from today's
Yes.
agenda onto a special commission meeting that should be held.
We all
on-
need to, we're making a motion here. Thank
It
you.
shall be held on April 12th at 1 PM here in Town Hall. Sufficient notice shall be posted by the town clerk. And at that time, we will have to make a decision how we move forward with that purchase.
Second. How's that?
All right, Carl, you want to call the roll?
How do you vote, Commissioner Michelak?
Aye.
How do you vote, Commissioner Cost?
Aye.
How do you vote, Commissioner Pugh?
Aye.
How do you vote, Mayor Hurlbert?
Aye.
How do you vote, Vice Mayor Hvac?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okey dokey, good to go.
And can we get these appraisals? Can we get those on the
Got more
website
copies of
or
those?
so public also has the opportunity to look at those? I'd like to have Rick's input on that.
1 o'clock, did we say?
1 o'clock on the 12th.
1 o'clock on the
Tuesday
12th. It'll
the
go
12th.
on the website. Everybody will get.
Tracy will zap us, right?
But still it was up.
Yeah. All right then, all good? So now we go on to item number 5. Let's go backwards here. Yeah. Okay, item number 5, building permit extension request for 7 Harbor Drive. Town Manager Stevens, will you bring us up to speed here?
Yes, thank you. The contractor for 7 Harbor Drive South has requested a building permit time extension in accordance with Town Code Section 6752 for their building permit to construct a single-family home. The permit was originally issued on 3/26/20 and expired on 3/26/22. The contractor's request was attached for your consideration, and I believe he appeared to speak with you all regarding his request.
Now you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Hey, how you doing? Steve Varga, Varga Homes, 31 Spanish River Drive. First off, 7 Harbor, I think we got, what was the permit date, March something?
Yeah, 26/20.
All right, so we didn't start it until June, I think, June of 20 because of COVID and everything after we got the permit. So that was one delay. We have big building construction, just a mess lately. So when we started it, we didn't know about this window issue. It was going to happen. We used to get windows in 90 days. Ends up it takes about 6-7 months to have to pre-order, but it was the beginning of COVID. So the whole house had to stop for about 4 months there before we could put in drywall because we didn't have windows. Then we go along I'm sorry, I get nervous speaking, so I'm doing my best.
Take a breath, we're good. There you go.
Just remember, they're all your neighbors.
That's what he's worried about.
But that's my thing, yeah. You know, I stand behind my reputation and I like what I do here. So when I have a house that keeps going, you know, I finished 15 Spanish River Drive in about 13 or 14 months, which was similar size, but we were kind of already adapted to what was going on with COVID. And then you have a 15 Spanish with one of my, a home that I built to sell. So everything's kind of pre-ordered and pre-figured out. When you're building a customer home, the customer comes in, they look at this wall right here in front of them, they're like, oh, I thought it was gonna look like this. I don't like the color. You take it out, you put it back in, which causes delays every time. And I'm doing my best to get it done, but the customer really wants their dream home. We finished the stairs. We're about to go put the coatings on the stairs. They said, oh, I thought the rail was supposed to have a little thing in it. have to show them it's not, but then the finisher guy doesn't come that day because he got to prove everything. So it's really just a question of all the construction delays and materials, as well as just making the customer a happy home. And we're getting close over there. So a couple other things is, I didn't understand the Florida code, or I would have gone with the executive order from the governor. They would have given us an extra building time. I think all I had to do was email in that there was it would take extra time. I didn't realize that because I thought we had 2 years to build a house in Ocean Ridge, because it said residential estate homes 2 years, all other structures 1 year. Kind of confusing. So I apologize. That's my fault, or I would have requested that. I figured in 2 years, we have to finish this house. But I have different projects. Some move faster than others. So we're really close. The customers are good. They're moving here in Ocean Ridge. They love the town, but they want their perfect home. And to get their perfect home, sometimes we do things and take it out. Whereas when I'm building another home that for different customers, some are just like, just get it done, keep it going. When I'm building a house that I'm going to sell, everything's pre-figured. So I apologize for the time delay. I'm trying here. So I don't like standing here because
I can tell.
Well, I don't like standing here because it's my business and I like my name. I built over 12 to 14 homes in the town. I've done countless renovations. So I feel like I did something bad. But I'm really trying to do good just by making the customer happy. So,
Okay.
all right. So
Okay.
anything
Thank
else
you.
from me here?
No, I think we're good. Thank you very
Put
much.
me in prison then?
Actually, I was going to ask our building official if you have any input here for us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I've been pretty impressed with Mr. Barber and his team. As he mentioned to you, he completed another house in the time that this house actually has been going on. So it is possible, and he has outlined, some, I think, significant issues that happened. And as a building department, we're doing our best to move things along by way of allowing projects to, have an early start and putting in. I'm just gonna basically flag this one and not mention it in my presentation later. Is we're now allowing, or we would like the commission to approve us to allow the use of a permanent meter as a temporary meter. And what this will do, it will cut out up to 6 weeks of construction time. Because if you do that, you don't have to wait for FPL to come and energize the meter. It's already energized. You've already been used. So we're working, diligently. And again, as I said, he is one of our better contractors in town, and he's doing his very best. And he's here, and it's, I guess, for the commission, to at your pleasure to look at what he's doing and his intentions to move construction along and consider something.
I got one other thing, if you don't mind. I didn't realize that whole 2-year rule was just for the residential estates. We have 12 months to finish a house, start to finish here for regular homes. Pretty much all the homes we're building, they're not just like cookie cutter houses. These are all estates. If you look at the house we're doing at 54 Spanish River, the road elevation is 1.9 feet. The house is going to 10 feet now. We have multiple pours just trying to get the house's foundation up, multiple sidewalls. There's no way I can finish that in 12 months. There's no way to finish pretty much any home that you or anybody else here would want to build for 3,500 or 4,000 square feet with our material shortages. I can't get a sub-zero wolf package of appliances. I think now they're up to 18 months right now. I can't even get the appliances in time of it.
Okay,
I think
but we're on this one here, so,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but I'm just saying, that's something for you guys to consider, is
Future.
that there is really hard to get anything done these days here. It's a big, just want to put that out to you guys to think about that.
Okay.
18 months would be a lot better.
Thank you
with the
very
COVID.
much.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. You feel better now? You heard Mr. Guy, thank you. I can tell, don't we all? Okay, so let's see, I'll open the floor for public comment. Hearing none, I'll close the floor and we'll open the Commission comments. Martin, would you like to give us your input here?
Steve is one of the few builders that, when you look at his properties, puts up a nice fence, keeps the property while it's under construction in clean and good-looking condition. He's one of our neighbors. He lives in this town. He cares about this town. I have absolutely no problem extending this. We have many other properties that we have extended over the years that we probably shouldn't have extended. And this certainly is one of those that I have absolutely no problem with. I understand the position that he's in. And besides, you actually, just by the code, I think you might have another 2 months anyway to go. But give him the extension, no issues.
All right, Steve, what do you think?
I have no problems.
Christine? Ditto. Easy peasy.
don't have a problem whatsoever, but I do think the building zone needs to look at that ordinance about the 12-month extension.
I agree.
That is something definitely,
It's a
there's
Ronnie.
no way.
Yeah, y'all can have
Now,
that
here's the
discussion.
other question I have before we go any further.
Okay.
There's no mention here of a fee. And I believe there was a fee involved in extending this, and nobody has mentioned it. It's not in our book, nowhere. How much is that fee? It's like $7,000. Is there a reason why we're charging them $7,000 for extension?
Is there a fee?
Yes, Guy, would you
the answer is
clear
yes,
that
but I
up?
also realized that I do believe in his letter is also requesting for a fee reduction. Is that correct?
That's what I thought.
Is what?
He's
Fee
asking,
reduction.
he asked for a fee reduction.
Is that,
No
you see
penalties.
fee reduction anywhere? in
His letter says with no penalties. So
it? Right, but that was not what I'm saying. It's not in the
Motion.
motion.
We can put that into the motion.
But see, that's another question I have. The town commission, you come to town commission, and you're asking for an extension. Now, the town extending the permit, what does it cost to the town to extend the permit? We're charging the contractor X amount of dollars to extend a permit. So I'm wondering, what are our costs to extend that permit? Except for the soft cost of extending the permit. So is that worth the amount of money that you're charging these builders?
There's 3 cents in the paper that you're actually printing it on.
That's my point. I mean, $7,000.
Well,
Guy, could you
I think we
please-
really need to look at that. 'cause
Could you
if
please
the
tell us
commission
what
is
the
extending it-
permit extension fee is? Because there is reference in Mr. Vargas' letter, and actually I made a note here when we were having our staff meeting. What
So
was,
I actually don't have the exact figure, but the number of 7,000 is, correct. Usually when a permit goes past the extended date, it usually means additional, inspections
right,
happening. Usually when it's going that long, there are usually a lot more partials. In this actual instance, I can recall that we actually did allow the MEPs to continue even without all the windows being installed. I think the front door as well. So, there were additional inspections that
Right.
had to happen because.
there are costs involved
Right,
in.
but again, it's up to the pleasure of the commission to, look at that.
let me ask you something, because
Decide if it is.
the way that our code reads as it is currently on the books, it's that these particular homes that are not estate homes have a 12-month construction, and then you have the ability to extend that by 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the extension of the 6 months, does that trigger another fee?
Yes, it does. According.
When you extend from 12 to 18, it triggers a fee?
Oh, yeah. So you get hit over.
So I get what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's
We gotta
the
look at
thing.
What do you think?
As far as the extension for this particular applicant,
The permit extension.
there should be no doubt that he should get that from.
Okay, can I
However-
go ahead and make a motion?
Hold
Do
on,
we
hold
want
on.
to separate? I know where you're going.
I would like to, for the next commission meeting already, to put that on the books that we discuss looking into this, because he's right. Right now, it is impossible to build in 12 months a home from scratch. It's absolutely impossible. That should be at
Right.
least under the current conditions that we have with shortages. should be 18 at least.
Right, well, we can have that discussion, but the other question is going to be, if we make this motion, because that was my little note here, is speed reduction included in the motion? Is that a
Yes.
separate situation?
Well, that's where
Right.
it's
a motion.
I'll make that as a motion, if you like.
Yeah, you're not jumping on me. I
Yeah.
made a motion.
I'm sorry.
Go for it, Christine.
Okay, make a motion that we approve.
Are we talking to
Are
the
we
vice
gonna-
mayor or the mayor?
She's making a motion.
I'm making
Oh,
a
you're
motion.
making the motion? I
Yeah.
thought, what's
No,
the name?
she's
Margaret?
making
She
the
started
motion.
first.
She actually started the
You
motion.
cut her
already.
off.
Cut her off?
You cut her off.
Yeah.
Sound
We
familiar?
do.
Come on.
You want to do it?
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Do it.
I make a motion that we grant the extension and waive the fee.
How
Second.
long is the extension?
Yeah. 6 months is what,
That's what
What-
he is.
What do you need?
all right, but we need to say
What do you need?
How many
6
months do you need?
I probably need,
that.
if it was something else, I would say 45 days, but I could say, let's just leave the 6 months because.
6 months, okay.
We take that out.
So do you want 6 points? Is that what you're
Right,
saying?
that's what he asked for, yeah.
Don't come back in 6 months. You gotta stand up here again.
You get a lot.
That'll be big fee.
No fee reduction.
That's my motion.
Okay.
So you moved to
Second.
approve a 6-month extension and no renewal fee.
That's correct.
For 7 Harbor Drive South. I second that motion.
I already did.
No, you already did. Okay.
Yeah.
We're all over each other.
All
today.
right then, Carla. Follow us up here. Take a vote. We have a motion by,
You can just do
You
it.
can just
You
do
can
it.
Okay, guys. all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. There you go, Mr. Varga.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Lucky you. Lucky you. All right, next, reduction of work without a permit fine request for Emerald Shores.
No, we need.
Oh, we
That
skipped-
was bad. We got number 6.
Oh, God, there was another one.
26
Another
Harbor.
harbor. That's where I got confused. Okay, request from 26 Harbor Drive to waive variance application fees. Town manager, will you bring us up to speed?
Yes, a variance was granted by the Board of Adjustment to construct a pergola in the rear setback at 26 Harbor Drive South. The application did not mention a request for a second floor balcony that would also be increased and would extend into the rear setback. Nor did the applicant mention this in the Board of Adjustment hearing. However, the photo that was submitted along with the application showed a second floor balcony. Since this could have been a miscommunication between the applicant and staff did not notice this on the photo due to the narrative of the application being focused on the pergola, staff is requesting that the fee be waived for a second variance application that will need to go before the Board of Adjustment for extension of the second floor balcony into the rear setback. I believe the applicant is here to speak.
Come on up.
Good evening,
Hello.
Bob McAllister, 26 Harbor. Thank you, everybody. This is the smallest thing that you guys are dealing with. So yes, we requested a variance, took about 9 months to build the shade structure in our house. It was all approved. And when we had submitted all the engineering drawings, there were there was 8 pages in the engineering drawings. 3 pages of it shows the actual way that it's built to the house. So there's a balcony that comes off the house and the shade structure wraps right around it. It's right there in the drawings. We never was trying to hide it from anybody or anything else. It was all there. And then when we got the variance to put in the permit to build the thing, they said this came up, and then we've been working with the city. The city's been awesome telling us how to do it. But now we had to come in and have a special request to see, because we already paid $1,500 for the variance. Now they want us to do another variance, even though we already did the thing. And this young lady's has been very helpful to say, hey, maybe we can help you reduce the fee and you don't have to pay $1,500 again. So that's what today's all about. And then we have to go back and do another variance again. So on the 4th of July, it'll be a full year that we've been trying to get the shade structure in our backyard built. Anyway, that's
Can I say something, Ralph? Let's do the history of this.
Yes, sir.
It was put up without a permit, number one, okay? And you had to take it down.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's just start off, we're all on the same page.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you had to get a variance.
Yes, sir.
Because it was built so egregiously into the setback that it's on this, pretty much next to the seawall. It's 25-foot setback. Now, she already has a balcony there. She's always had it there. So where was the balcony in making it larger on the plan It was on the plan you
Yes.
submitted,
Yeah,
but it wasn't in the variance application.
because we never, because it doesn't impede upon the setback, because the only thing that they told us about the shade structure was that our backyard is 28 foot.
So are you creating a larger balcony?
Yeah, we expanded it 24 inches.
Right, so
How wide was it to begin with?
It was 3 foot. Our backyard is 28 foot, but we have a 25-foot setback from the water, so really our backyard's only 3 foot.
So your balcony, the 3-foot balcony that you had originally was at the 25-foot setback.
Yes,
You were
exactly.
dead on the setback.
Yes.
So now you encroached with the pergola into the setback, for which you got a variance, and you increased the balcony by 2 feet,
Yes, sir.
which you also encroached into the setback.
Yes, but there's no posts or nothing. It was just up in the air. We
So
never
what
said
I'm
it.
going to do is, before it gets in too deep, I was going to open for public comment. We have our P and Z. I was at that meeting when that came up. Do you have anything you want to add to this, Rick? You don't have to.
That's Board of Adjustment.
A Board of Adjustment. Oh, that's right. So wait a minute. We got Britt. I vaguely remember
Betty.
this one, right? And we have Betty. Just is public. I'm going to get a little public comment here.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I remember your situation. Does anybody have anything else they want to add here?
Was there a permit given originally?
That's what we're trying to get
In front of
permit.
All right. Betty, tell us how it went at the Board of Adjustment meeting.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
if I may interrupt just 1 second, since this may come back.
Oh, come back to you for a
to the
variance.
Board of Adjustment, she certainly can talk about what happened at the last meeting, but maybe not any comment on what could happen at the next Board of Adjustment meeting.
Is that worth your time, Betty, or do you not want to bother?
There was nothing mentioned about a balcony, which would be further in,
Or the mic.
urging into the setback. And as I understood it, they need a bigger balcony in order to, I'm not real sure. But
Okay.
that'll come to a variance. But it's,
Right. So do we have anything else from the public? Anybody wants to add to that? I think we understand you, and if they have some questions, then we can, when we close it to public comment, we'll.
There's just one last thing I wanted to say. I'm so sorry. We're not the ones who actually said we wanted to make the balcony bolder. The engineer said that this whole thing is a fake balcony. It's just old rotted wood. And then he had designed it so that he put in these struts into the wall of the house so that it could hold the weight of the pergola.
Like Juliet balcony.
That's the only thing I wanted to say.
So I got
Okay,
a
thank
question.
Yes, sir.
Who filled out the variance request?
Me and Darlene.
Okay. So at that point, when it was going up, you would think, I think you would know what was going up. So but I guess what you're asking is that you wanted the town staff to look at a picture and know that that was supposed to be in the variance request. That's what we're looking, that really is what you're asking.
Well, no, sir, not a photograph. I put in the full-blown engineering drawing.
Right, it got missed. I was there.
And let's just clarify, the engineering plans were never officially submitted.
Correct.
You kind of submitted as a part of the variance package, and you were told at this stage, you don't need engineering drawings because the board cannot interpret engineering drawings. So it was never officially submitted. The only thing we ever received was a photo. And there was never any mention of the balcony. I do want to clarify that. I know we have a
Yes.
photo here,
Yeah,
but you
no
already
argument.
have a deck. So we assume that it was just a deck that was already existing since there was no mention of the balcony.
And yes, and we never tried to hide it. We just didn't think that that was what the issue was. We always thought the issue was the 2 posts. That's all we ever thought. That was the encroachment part.
Okay, so I think we have a picture going on here. So I'm
Yes.
going to close, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll close it to the public, open it for the commissioner. Where's Martin back there? Martin? I think you were at the Board of Adjustment meeting.
I was at the Board of Adjustment meeting, but I had left when that item came
Oh, okay.
about, so.
That's good.
I
Because if
don't,
you were there and spoke, you couldn't talk to this meeting,
He wouldn't have spoke. He's been very good.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it really shouldn't be constructed, period, but, if it's not submitted properly, then you need to go for another variance, and you need to have to pay the fee for it. I mean, it's cost to the town. I don't think that the town has missed anything. It wasn't prepared properly. It wasn't submitted properly. Jeff, when you submit pools Pro plans, they better be right and they better be complete and if you miss something on the plan, then well,
Yeah, then
pay the fee again.
Please,
Yeah. So my vote is no.
So I'm pretty simple on this. If the variance had been put forward as one entity, that we're extending the balcony and we're putting in a pergola, would that be one variance?
So we would have it on one application, but it's different sections of code.
So wait a minute, would
But
it be
it's still
one
one
variance
fee.
We
fee?
would have
One
had it
$1,500 fee?
Yes, one fee.
And
one-
I'm okay with them not paying the second fee. Because if they had, it doesn't matter, why would they try to sneak something by if it's the same amount of money to do the balcony and the pergola at the same time?
Christine?
Okay, I don't think anybody's trying to sneak anything, but I do think that there's a lot of forgiveness, not permission going on. And I'm really kind of tired of it. And it costs the town upwards of $1,500 to actually hold a Board of Adjustments meeting. And that's what I think you guys need to understand. It's at least 2 hours. It's at least 2 hours for legal. Our land development person reviews it, our zoning reviews it. Those are all outside contractors that are costly to us. Then we have to publicize it twice. And each publication is $400. So we are almost at $1,500. So I don't believe that you can just throw something in a picture. You could have put your picture of your dog in there and said, well, you know, I meant the dog was part of the application. It doesn't fly with me, and I would not reduce the cost because it's actually hard cost. So you will all be paying, if we don't ask for the fee to cover the cost, you will all be paying for his variance.
To me, what the whole thing is, the reason they had to get a variance is because they put it up
Without a permit.
So shame on you. Okay? So if you have to now get another variance because the balcony was we're supposed to somehow interpret it that the balcony was 2 foot longer from a photo is absolutely ridiculous on its face. So if it should have been in the variance application, and if you have to go for another variance, you need to pay the fee to have another variance. Sorry.
Guy, what is I think we're good. Thank you.
I just want to say, I'm not the one who made the request for to pay the reduced fee. The
I-
Board of Justice was the one who said, hey, we will
Okay.
do it.
Good to know.
That's
Thank you
the
very
reason
much.
why I'm even
Okay.
here.
Okay, good to know. That is good. Guy, what is the fee? To go ahead and do the next one, 1,500, correct?
1,500.
Okay, 1,500. Okay, that's what I want to know. I was at the meeting, I understand, I saw the picture, I saw how it could have, because somebody, I guess it was Guy who noticed it on the plan, right? And all of a sudden it became a discussion that had not been a discussion until it would have been being built, and then it would have been a discussion. So.
Because they pulled a permit finally. That's why you saw it.
That's the
He could
point.
pull the permit, his engineer
Yeah,
job.
they saw it there. We saw it. So anyway, point being is, does anybody want to make a motion? All right, the motion is there regarding
I'll make a
waiving.
motion to deny the reduction or waiver of variance application fees for 26 Harbor Drive South.
Second.
Okay, Carla?
No, just you call the vote.
You don't like roll, huh? Okay, call a vote, people. What do you think, Martin?
No, just call.
No,
Everybody
vote.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those against
No,
say nay, nay.
so passes 3-2.
For you too.
Moving on.
All right, so that was 6. Now we're on 7. We're 2 hours in. Anybody need a break or no?
Good, sir.
You good? Okay. All right. That's called asking. I'm sorry?
What did you just pass?
We passed item number 6, where we waived the variance application for the gentleman that just left.
We did not.
Did not,
We did
we
not.
denied,
I'm sorry, denied.
denied.
We denied. Sorry, I'm talking about my vote. Yes.
My
we
my
did not.
motion was to deny the
Right.
application, which was seconded, and it was voted in favor of my
And it wa-
motion 3-2.
Just to be real clear, it wasn't the application, it was the application fee.
Right.
Application still
Fee,
must be
correct.
made.
Yes.
And our
application
microphones
consent.
aren't working very well, which is probably why you can't hear everything very clear, but we're fixing it. All right, we clear? What are we on to now? 7?
7.
7. Okay, 7. Reduction of work without a permit fine request for Emerald Shore. who's going to give this. Building official Guy, would you please bring us up to speed?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So we have an applicant here from Company Roofing that is requesting that the 4 times the permit fee that was charged for them doing work without a permit be reduced or waived. And I guess they're here to make their case.
All right.
No problem. Renee Rodriguez, Campany Roofing, Steve Good, President of Campany Roofing. I think we got kind of caught up in a crosshair in this typical situation. So January 19th, we submitted for a permit. We actually expedited the permit, paid an additional $1,500 to get expedited. Expedited is 3 to 4 days per the town. That was on the 24th is when we decided to mobilize, expecting our permit to be approved the 24th. Our mobilization included loading the roof with materials, and we were doing a hot mop system, which requires a kettle. That kettle needs to be burned off, so when we start the next day, we don't have to wait 4 to 5 hours to get producing. There was no trucks or dump trucks on site. There was no crew or crew members on site. Who was actually on site was myself and my HVAC team, who actually came on site to go look at the ACs at the time. That's when, let's say, a full force of Ocean Ridge to include police officers and the inspector came on site, explained to us, this is your second time, we warned you, we told you not to do this. I explained to myself, no, that's not us. You got a misunderstanding here. I said, no, this is your second time. I said, no, it's not us. And what it turned out was, apparently the Summit Development had a stop to work order on interior build outs. And somehow we got crossed into that story as well. Then recently on February 15th, I received a letter from I guess there was a case, or I don't know how you guys handle it, where you guys came to conclusion that with the interior non-permanent work, there was roofing added to it, and there was a $7,900 working without a permit fine. They sent to me the code, which is, I believe, 69.7. It specifically speaks to construction work without a permit. We were loading the materials on the roof, and we fired up a kettle. I'm not an attorney, but I believe that doesn't qualify underneath construction, and that's why we wake up 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're here right now because we truly feel that it's not appropriate as far as what we're being accused of.
And can I just add that we want to be obedient to any laws and guidelines that you guys have. We perform really high quality work and are a great fit for this area. The roof that we did looks incredible. And I guess I want to add that because I don't want you to think that it's not important to us. It is. And I think it's just more of a miscommunication. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to be able to explain that.
Okay.
Mayor and commissioners, if you guys want a little bit of the history just on it, I know I talked about it in my memo, but if you guys want me, I can say it to public record.
Yes, would you please?
As well. They did submit on the 19th for a permit, and they did pay the expedited fee.
Right.
And with the expedited fee, the permit is moved to the top of the pile, which theirs was, and they received comments on the 20th. The very next day, they received comments that their permit couldn't be approved because Guy was having some issues. The comments were provided to them. On the 24th, when Guy noticed the work without a permit, or they called the loading, they still didn't have their permit because they still had comments. And on that day was when they resubmitted to address comments. Again, the building official, since it was expedited the first time, he reviewed it. It went to the top of the pile. He reviewed it. And the 25th, it was determined that they did not meet the requirements that Guy was looking for in their resubmittal. So he again provided comments the very next day. I just wanted to give a little bit of the history in regards to that. And if you guys have any further questions, of course, Guy and myself.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta ask them, what were the requirements? What were the comments? What were the requirements that you were requesting?
So there were ACs placed on the roof that were sitting on, I guess, 4x4 jacks. And I guess those had rotted out and needed to be replaced. So those were done as far as our records were concerned, without proper permitting. And we needed proper permitting to remove and properly replace the stands on the roof, which is what was holding up that permit. I must put this in, no one told Company Roofing that they were guaranteed an approved permit 3 days later. What you were guaranteed is that you would be at the top of the pile, which is what we did. So we do not accept money to approve permits. Your permit is reviewed like everyone else's, and it simply goes to the top of the pile.
All right, so Durrani, so that the permitting for the comment was basically they have to get a separate permit to fix the air conditioner bases. That's what we're talking about?
That's
okay.
Which we did, which we separated the permit based on those comments.
Yes, but it was done
But when?
way later.
Yeah, when was that?
Well, understood,
Okay,
but I don't think
I think it's an important part. We didn't start or stick a spade into the roof to tear anything off until we had the roofing permit.
Correct.
In hand.
We did not start
We did
any
not start,
construction.
any material was loaded and some equipment, but we did not do anything whatsoever until we had a permit issue in our hand.
So
All right.
I had a simple question. It says, quote, install HVAC stands and remove existing compressors. So are you just replacing existing stands in the exact same location, or is these new?
Well, you can't have an AC stand with current code on 4x4.
So you had,
with
this is
sleepers.
removal.
Yeah, so what happened was it was on sleep, we call sleepers, basically like 2x4s. But what happened was it came to our knowledge that these AC units were not permitted. They were brought from the ground to top of the roof. There's only 4 of them. The rest of the units are on the ground. And that, they discovered that and brought that to our attention, which we didn't know. So then in turn, we actually had to get the permitting for all the wiring that comes from the 4 units down to the units and the stand. So it increased our scope of work, which we did permit. The job's done. We completed the job, didn't fail any inspections that I know of or remember. Did a great job, performed well, and we're actually done final at the whole out of the job.
Bet you're glad about that.
No, we do a lot of work in Ocean Ridge. If our records.
I meant specific to this property. This property's been
Well,
Gotcha.
bit problematic.
The developer on this property, we're not used to as far as doing work without permitting. That's not how we operate, but apparently they did. And they got red tagged, which we knew nothing about until that situation. So I understood as far as what it looked like outside looking in and at the initial emotion behind it. But then when we clear it all away and we look at the facts, as Steve says, there was no spade, there wasn't a dump truck, there was no crews to tear off. We weren't there to start the job.
Okay.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
can address that, we do have a code section 67-1 that says it shall be unlawful to unload
Yeah.
or
Got that
store
right
any material used or required on any construction site without a permit having been issued for construction.
Yeah, that was my question here when we got to my turn.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I read it.
Public comment.
Okay, so I know, I'm trying. So, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from the public? All right, I'll close public comment, open up to commissioner comment. Martin.
Boy, so your expedited permit fee, I think that was made clear to you. You submitted it on the 19th. You got comments back on the 20th. That's within 24 hours. I would think that qualifies very well as expedited. The comments were not addressed. So the 20th was a Thursday. The comments were not addressed until the Monday, the 24th, when you thought that you wanted to start construction on that, or that you thought that you're going to have a building permit in hand. The 25th. Right, so again, your word is that you had no workers there on staff, and but you had a kettle brewing, you had materials being loaded. I kind of, having been on construction site, unusual that there would not be workers on site. I'll even if I would grant you that that was the case, if you submit what the building official has asked you for on the 24th, and at the same time, come here to town hall, drop off your comments or the answer to the comments from the building official, and walk over and fire up the kettle, that's a little bit upfront, I would say. So I don't want to say that you had the intent of breaking the law potentially, but there's certainly there's a unwillingness of waiting for the permit, for the physical permit to be issued. And with that, that would qualify for the work without permit. I would entertain potentially reducing that fee
To what?
to half, since it's the first occurrence. And
Okay, so wait a minute, before we go there, let's just see where we're all sitting. Did you want to say something in between it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As we were writing the memo for this, they ended up doing more work without a permit. So that would be a double whammy.
More work
before
on
we
the
even get to
roof or
table
somebody
here.
else, another building?
Another AC units, correct?
But wait a minute, that's
So
not
it's a
this
double
company,
whammy.
right? So why does that affect this?
that's Emerald Shores.
Yeah.
I mean, Emerald Shores has a history at this point being in front of the special magistrate.
Owner.
That's the owner. That's not the company. We're talking about that company, roofing company. that is-
Emerald Shores is not in front of us today.
Right, that's, what it says Emerald Shores here, but these guys are the AC company, the
No,
roof
they're
company.
Roofing.
So it says, work without a permit fee was imposed for Emerald Shores, which has imposed, and then they're asking for reduction. Who's asking for the bloody reduction? You guys? Okay, so it's got nothing to do with another contractor inside Emerald Shores that starts work without a permit after that,
Or even
right?
before.
So I agree with Martin, half the fee.
Okay, so that's what you have to say. Jeffrey?
Well, I agree, you're conflating the two, Emerald Shores and a separate contract. I mean, Emerald Shores, I mean, they got all kinds of other things they've been doing over there, and just drive by. You see them all the time out there working and doing things, and they should be doing, but contract is contract. However, the assumption was that the permit's gonna be ready tomorrow, so that's why you fired up the kettle, because you thought it was gonna be ready tomorrow, but there's no way it could have been ready the next day because the comments weren't made. So that's why, I can understand, some things trying to get work done fast. And by the way, who put up the flags? When did you guys do that?
Our safety director,
No, but when did you do that?
I can speak to that.
Because wouldn't that be doing work without a permit as well?
To be honest with you, sir, I think that's where I'm apologizing and maybe confused. To me, doing work, like I said, we would want to honor any rule. Knowing that now, we wouldn't even load material or do anything, but we do set up our schedules to try to, especially with the windows of time when you can work when the light is
No,
short.
believe me, I understand staging.
So that's what we
I
consider
understand that
staging.
completely,
Like,
but-
to me, putting a spade in, and
But
I
the point
apologize
is,
if we misread it.
small towns, as you know, have certain rules.
Yes, sir.
And you have to pull a permit. Period, end of story. Permit's got to be on the job before you start doing the work. Otherwise, it's going to be an issue. Like I said, when did the flags go up? Because obviously it's prior to when what's his name was going up. So you've been on the roof, putting flags up and doing work. That's actually considered work, putting the safety features in. So that all being said, I think that I agree with Martin, split the fee in half and let's move on.
Okay, Christine, what is your input here? Okay, hold on. Commissioner.
Not there yet.
It's not your fault that Emerald Shores has been the bad poster child. You guys have a good reputation. I believe at some point you actually even worked on my roof way back when. So, and I know that it's not your intention to run around breaking rules, but you also bent them quite far.
Yeah, but they
So-
flagged them.
Oh, wait a
That's a joke.
You flagged them, okay, got it.
We are tired.
Because we are a small town, I think we sometimes do have a little bit more leniency. But that doesn't mean don't take advantage of us. So I would be in favor of what Commissioner Bishalak proposed.
Okay, my comments here were, I was going to again say, even though you say I wasn't working, flags, unloading, That's our rules. That's, you know, that's for you to know ahead of time, not make us come chase you down.
You won't
So
have
it's
it
that
every
one.
day.
And also the kettle, I called a couple of roofers that I know and asked, kettle, how early on you got to do that? So that didn't have to go either. So I think that, again, pushing those rules, I personally have to say that I'm not really in favor of waiving or having the refund, but I think I'm going to be outvoted here. So does somebody want to make a motion on what's our actual motion here? Reduction of work without permit fine request, although it does say for Arrow Shores, but it's basically for Campany. Okay, Martin, hit it.
I will make a motion to grant a fee reduction to 2 times the permit fee for the work that was done without a permit for company roof maintenance.
Second.
At 66 North Ocean Boulevard.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries. What are we, 4-1? There we go.
Time with a permit in hand.
No flags. Get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, we'll refund you. We'll issue a check refunding you.
It's a good question.
In pennies.
I remember it goes in the mail, so may not get there for a while.
All right, now we're going to agenda item number 8, review bids for tropical pump station generator by town engineer, very patient Lisa Trepepi sitting back there.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. In the interest of time, you received the packet that explained the procurement process and what we did in order to get where we got. I just wanted to add, though, for clarification. 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago in April, I had sent to you all with respect to the fiscal year 2021 budget that to replace the Tropical Drive pump station would be approximately 100 to 150,000. That was to replace the Tropical Drive pump station, an estimate at that time. 2 years have gone by. We've expanded the scope. There were some concerns on Coconut, and I know you all know this, but for the record, there's some concerns with the generator on Coconut. And so trying to utilize the assets that we have, we came up with a bigger scope. And we also put in the permit packet, the bid packet, some additional enhancements to the enclosure, sound attenuation. The tropical station is right next to residential property. It's in the middle of Turtle Beach, or off to the side to the south, but adjacent within Turtle Beach. So we brought in the electrical engineer who originally designed the station that should have been there, which was supposed to be a 230 kW station. Okay. The station that's there now is 150 kW. So after a lot of conversation with staff, Public Works, we decided that it would be a great idea to reuse that 150 kW station and move that station to the Coconut Lane station. And then the generator that is there currently needs to be removed entirely because it is not functioning properly and it's basically deteriorated to the point where we're not providing the proper backup for the pump station for Coconut Lane. So the original scope was simplistically to just say, we're going to replace the pump station. But now what we're basically doing is not only assisting the pump station for Tropical, which by the way also includes other things like what we call ATS, an automatic transfer switch, and it gets kind of complicated. We brought in the electrical engineer. He created plans. We submitted a survey. We created a bid package. We worked with the town attorney to make sure we did the proper verbiage for the potential contract. We had a pre-bid meeting mandatory here. The bids were submitted. As you can see, there were 2 of them. All Florida Contracting came in at $207,750. And Hvac Power Systems that came in at $254,922.14. We created a selection committee that was made up of myself, Billy, and the electrical engineer, Larry Smith, from Larry Smith Consulting Engineers. We went through the bids. From the beginning, All Florida Contracting had put in writing that there were exceptions. And so we asked some questions for clarification purposes, worked with the town attorney to make sure that we did that properly. Both bidders came back with their explanations. The selection committee met again, and after a second review of everything, the selection committee unanimously concluded that Hvac was the most qualified responsive bidder. So because of the fact that All Florida might have met the qualifications, they were considered non-responsive because of technical issues that they specifically exempted in their bid.
But the other one didn't.
The other one
No, it says
did
right
not,
here, met with no exceptions.
with no exception. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to attempt to answer them.
Okay, we will open the floor to public comment. Let's see where we go with that one. But we have none, so we'll close the floor. We'll open it to commission and
Surely
we'll
have
see if they
public
have
left.
questions for you. Okay, Martin?
In this new bid, we're going from 120 to from 100 to 150 2 years ago to now at 250, jump by somewhere between 150 and 100 to $150,000. When you say we made changes to the bid process, which obviously were changes that increased the price, how much of that was due to the changes that we made? And the second part of that question is, does this bid include moving the existing tropical generator from its location, moving it to Coconut Lane and hooking it up in Coconut Lane? So it's basically 1.5.
So to answer the last question, the answer is yes.
Okay.
There's a lot more labor involved. They are also going to remove the Coconut Station in its entirety, which includes the transfer switches, the conduit, and everything associated with it. And they're going to remove that. So it's not going to be the responsibility of the town. So yes, there's a lot more labor involved in what we proposed.
And that was
only
not
that,
part of the original 100 to 150.
That's exactly correct.
Steve?
I have no issues. We have the town engineer, we have the outside engineer whose title is
Larry Smith, who's the
electrical engineer, and we have the head of public works all saying to go with the superior company who did not exempt, so I'm fine with it.
Yep. All
That's
good?
exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
Christine?
face it, 2 years ago it was 150, it's only 100 now, and
Right.
adding
We should-
all.
Right,
look
it's not
look
getting
at
any
the
cheaper.
crosswalk, they went from 15 to 50.
Right.
Christine, do you have any input here?
I agree.
I do as well. So let's see what we're gonna do here. So from
Can we
that,
do
we're
a
gonna
motion?
entertain a motion on the bids for the tropical pump station generator replacement.
I
Somebody
a
wanna make
motion
one?
to approve.
Second.
Second by Jeff.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes,
real
please.
quick? This may require a budget amendment. Not yet though.
Okay.
Let's see how we go in the next 6 months. We may or may not need a budget amendment, just so you know.
All
It
right.
might be coming.
Okay, sounds good.
But we would need a budget amendment
We might.
anyway if we would do the purchase on the,
That's reserved.
it comes out of
Yeah.
reserves,
If
right?
it comes out of reserve, you'll need a budget amendment.
So we
If I
have,
can,
Right.
figure out how to.
I'm talking about the purchase of the land. If we
Oh.
decide to do the
Correct.
purchase of the land, we have to do a budget
That's
amendment
correct.
anyway, right?
Bundle them. All right, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. And let's call for a 5-minute recess, please. I need to stand up.
Yes.
Don't you?
Who seconded the motion? Sorry.
Jeff did. Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute recess, y'all.
I got my Snickers bar all over
Oh,
my.
look at you, nicely done.
You did.
I need to know. Oh,
Because they might have some shout or something.
Does anybody need water?
I'm good.
Or an ice cube.
Jeez.
Yes, I need a water, Tracy. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, my. Okay, so where the heck are we? 9? It's flying right along.
Make a motion to have a full bar in the back of the,
We've got a little notch that's cut out right there.
You know.
it would be a perfect thing.
Oh, yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm glad you're doing it. I used to do it for 20 years. I have a couple of questions. Are there in Florida municipal county partnerships? Why is Palm Beach interested in this?
There's been discussions with Palm Beach County, there's been discussions with the South Florida Watershed District. Tracy is exploring grants from the state and federal agencies to see if we can get assistance in buying this. Because it has happened relatively quickly, we start talking about those types of partnerships. We don't have a huge amount right now.
Not to say they're excluded.
They're not, they're also not taking that. Thank you. Someone that's in mitigation, they can certainly buy it, release it to the town.
This purchase is clear from experience. This is the intention of property owners.
Well, right, well, what the goals would be is the county purchases, if we rezone it as preservation conservation. Then in terms of mitigation, the only person who could buy it would be that they would need it to keep it in a preserved conservation state, perhaps to build somewhere else.
Which said, don't get some of the mitigation.
Well, it's just rezone. It's just rezone. So you can always undo the rezone. Right, this would be technically a down zoning, but if the town owns it, or the developer carries it against ourselves. So it can always be upzoned back to what it is currently if that were ever desired. But
we could get 10 minutes. Thank you. Oh.
This is what applies to cities when you go to purchase property. Right now, there's nothing in the town. So right now, the town doesn't have in its charter or its code any provision that deals with real property. So Florida Attorney General said, if you want to bring it in charter code, this is the process to follow. And this process allows to exempt certain things.
So that's the thing, so the next thing is.
There's no desire.
Hi.
All right, who we use? Use your gavel. Yep, I'm about to. I get to use it. All right, guys. Everybody?
Now he's going
Always wanted to use that. The only thing is weird, it's so close to the glass, you know, it's like. I banged it, Steve took off. So let's go for this.
Time for a little cognac?
Oh, man, that was good. All right, where the heck are we?
Nine.
Number nine.
Dropping like flies, man. There's absolutely zero reason for recusal. He didn't get hold of me. I never got. I didn't get anything.
No, mention it, but you didn't send that to me.
What's he gonna do?
What are you talking about? What's that? Pick one.
People walk around.
Oh, here he's going to Blackfish for jelly.
Dang, I thought I was skipping a step. Okay, can someone go, wait, Pew, can you go get cause? Really? Shocked.
Great. All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
Back to business? Ready, sit down. Okay, we are on agenda item number 9, resolution number 2022-08, resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, in support of the potable water infrastructure replacement capital improvements project along the east side of A1A. Town Manager, would you explain this to us?
Yeah, absolutely. I recently attended a group meeting with Congresswoman Lois Franco to discuss some community project funding, federal grants that we may be able to tap into for our potable water infrastructure improvements project. The community project funding, formerly known as earmarks, is a way for members of Congress to submit specific local projects to be included in the annual appropriations bill for funding. Each member of Congress may request up to 15 total CPFs across all 12 appropriation bills. Only nonprofits and government entities are eligible for funding. In order for the Congresswoman to consider our project, there needs to be broad community support, and submitting a resolution in support of the project is the first step. Now, this is, I'm not going to lie to you, this is a long shot for us, but we have to try.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Passing the resolution makes sense, so we can try to go out for.
Yeah, why not? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Do we have any comments from the floor? All right, then I will close public comments to the floor. Commissioner comments? Martian, Steve?
Nope.
Good? Nope. Good. Christine?
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-08.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Bingo. Number 10. We have Lisa back. All right. Approve engineering costs for potable water infrastructure replacement capital improvements project along east side of A1A. I feel like I'm repeating myself. By town engineer Trippetti.
In my book, what do you have as the first page up to 10? The same thing, okay.
Good evening again. This is a continuation of the American Rescue Plan Act. The first part was we've spent some time trying to assess the water distribution system and the areas by which we could assist the most amount of people with the biggest impact. The area on the east side of A1A from Inlet K all the way pretty close to the north limits of the town has a 6-inch water main that is beyond its life expectancy. The good news is the American Rescue Plan Act, which is the federal government, has basically given the town of Ocean Ridge approximately $900,000 to utilize in the next few years for improvements such as water distribution systems. So timing couldn't be better. The first part was to basically do the surveying and understand where the right-of-way is located, what's encroaching, what the topography is. The second phase involves bringing in a geotechnical engineering firm to assist with not only the design, but with construction bids to identify the subsurface materials in that area. This also includes modeling in order to determine what pipe size we're going to need. Because the demands, fire demands, for example, along the east side of the town have changed over the decades. And therefore, we need to be able to model the system so that we can address everybody along the east side of A1A from those areas I just mentioned. So it's the design, it's the specifications, it's the bid assistance, it's the permitting. There will be a half a dozen permits that will be needed. The geotechnical information, this is all part of the design so that we can ultimately go out to bid and go through the construction process in accordance with all the ARPA rules and regulations.
All right. I get it. So, any public comment here? Let's open the floor. All right, we will close that, open the floor for commissioner discussion. Martin?
Got several questions. One, if we're doing this modeling and the design and all of this, right now what we're basically doing is we're projecting to have about what, $900,000 on hand from the ARPA?
Correct.
Okay, so we have $900,000 on hand. We're spending already $90,000 right here in just getting the framework done. We also spent in your regular report the water main enhancements, another 17,308 on, which is, I assume, the same project, correct?
Probably for surveying.
Surveying. Okay. So we're basically, we have 900,000 on hand. We're reducing it already by 10% for just this particular project. There's other costs that are coming in. At one point, we will have to pay for the actual work that needs to get done. will this, what you're asking us here to approve today, will this be a sufficient base that even if we can only do half of the work that we might come up with here, that we have a wish to go 3,000 feet, we might be only doing 1,500 because pipes have gone up in cost, digging has gone up in cost, and so on and so forth. Will this give us also the opportunity to know and to plan for down the road if we have another 900,000 that we can dig the rest up and do the rest of the work? Or do we need to go then again through this whole process of doing all of that, with the exception obviously of the permits?
That's a good question. And so what may need to happen, like, just so you know, like, for example, high density polyethylene pipe is not even available right now. That's what I'm hearing. So we may need to switch pipe type. I don't know. But as far as the extent's concerned, one of the thoughts was to possibly, it would be designed what the model would show. From what we can see, there needs to be a connection all the way to the north, and then at Inlet K Drive extended. That's what's included in here. What may need to happen is this may need to be phased, because we just don't know at that time how much money it would cost to do the entire project. We're hoping that all the grant, that just the grant money that we need is going to be sufficient, but
no way that it's going to be sufficient to do all of that.
The way life is going right now, and inflation and
No way.
material cost delays, material costs and delays, we may come back with a phased approach.
Fine. So we already discussed all this and committed to doing this pipe. And now we have money coming in from the, whatever you guys call it, the ARPA grant. So I don't see the necessity for discussion. We're going to do it. If the money runs out at linear foot 1,700, yeah, then we're gonna have to regroup, and we're not gonna have an empty pipe flowing down A1A,
Right,
uncapped pipe.
We're
So
gonna
there's
address
no,
the
I don't
entire
understand the
area.
discussion.
That's what he's asking.
We just may need to phase.
My
we just
concern,
may need to phase.
let me bring you my concern in this whole thing. My concern is that we're approving right now $90,000 to be spent on this. I don't want to come back to this and say, well, you know what, now all of a sudden we don't have enough money to do the whole project, so we need to reassess.
But no matter
and
what,
then
we
we'll
have
need
to
more and
spend the
more and more.
90 to get the proposal, to get the engineering work, to get the design done. So it doesn't
His
matter.
question being is
I'm
how,
trying
is,
to make
will
sure
that
we're not
all
going
cover
Yeah.
just even
Yes.
the information?
Just understand that
Yes.
standard is in the industry for engineering, legal, and administrative on big construction projects could be anywhere from 20 to 25% of the construction costs. So
Not in our town, not with you.
I know.
We'll bring it down
That's
to
why
10.
I'm doing the best I can to,
Okay, we get it.
yeah.
Jeff?
No, we've discussed this.
I know,
We've
just
approved.
giving you a chance. Christine? Let's go. I think we're good as well. So would somebody like to make a motion here?
I flipped my page already.
Make a motion to approve the
Engineering
The
costs.
American Rescue Plan Act monies to
Thank you.
go to potable water distribution capital projects for item number 10. Does that work?
Christie, is that good enough?
Yes.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Using those big
fancy words, polypropylene. I know, you thought you'd get us with that, one, didn't you?
Polypropylene and polyethylene.
Thank you,
Now
Lisa,
spell
as
that.
always.
I can spell them all.
All right then.
Clean the-
Agenda item number 11,
spell it
first
out.
reading and adoption of ordinance 2022-04, an ordinance of the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida. Do you want to read this one, Carla, or must I finish?
Ordinance number 2022-04, an ordinance of the town of Ocean Lake, Florida, amending its code of ordinances of chapter 54, traffic and vehicles, by creating a new article 4 entitled Compact Automobile Theft Program and establishing new section 54-100 entitled Town of Ocean Ridge Compact Automobile Theft Program and creating new section 54-101 entitled Definitions and further establishing new section 54-102 entitled Registration Requirements and Procedures and creating new section 54-103 entitled Enrollment Implications, Termination, and Civil Liability, which upon the enactment of the new program will serve to permit and assist law enforcement officers to detect, apprehend, and prevent automobile theft in the town. Repeal of ordinances, durability, and effective date.
All right, Town Attorney Godot, would you please advise us?
Yes, this is the chief's ordinance that he wanted.
I know. I almost asked him.
I'll just add that by statute, we're required to have an ordinance. That's the only
Right.
thing.
To allow him to do what he's gonna do anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
So in essence, it's basically a request of the town to enact an ordinance that allows us to apply a sticker on vehicles which owners are requesting to apply the sticker to. So it's a completely voluntary type program. Once the sticker is affixed to the vehicle, if the vehicle is seen on the roads between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., it gives the officer reason to believe that the vehicle may be stolen because most of our residents don't operate their vehicles during those hours. That's the theory behind it, okay? And then once the officer gets behind the vehicle, sees the sticker, it's between those hours, they would turn their lights on and attempt to pull the vehicle over. If the vehicle pulls over, we know it's the resident. If the vehicle doesn't pull over and takes off, we know it's stolen. And then we would obviously go to the home of the resident and check on the resident. Again, it's a voluntary program, no one's forced to participate in it. But in order for us to try to do something to keep those numbers at bay and to reduce vehicle thefts, we have to create education, which obviously part of this is that. And then second, provide some program that helps us detect and then deter those from happening.
All right.
Would that be nice if you had it with my kids are just driving?
Yes.
Is
Is the sticker free or is it $5?
Yes, no, the sticker would be free.
You get it at town hall?
You would actually get it at the police department.
Right, police department. All right, it's an idea to try and, with our high numbers for theft all up and down
This
the
came
island.
This came from officers on the street who came up with the idea to do this and then did all the research and presented it as an idea. It's been in the works for quite some time on the back end. It's just one more method to give us the opportunity to reduce crime.
Right.
But it is active in other municipalities.
Correct.
All right.
We're not the guinea pigs.
We're
No,
not.
no, we're not reinventing the wheel. I'll open the floor to public comment. Rick?
Just have a question for the chief. Rick Carey, 39 Spanish River Drive.
Yes, sir.
So would the decal be something that I would see or just regular person, or is it unique? Because otherwise you're kind of labeling cars that are available to be stolen. That would be my. I do go out.
Actually, my
before
Cadillac
5
is
a.m.
2008.
Probably not inclined to put a decal on my car, but I don't want it labeled either. That's
Yeah, it is a unique sticker, but it doesn't say anything about auto theft or anything on it. It's just a reflective sticker that when the officer gets behind you, the lights would then illuminate it. They would see that it was there and they would know that, oh, this is one of those vehicles that, you know, we're looking at.
But if I were walking by a car that had one on it, I probably wouldn't even recognize it.
You wouldn't even recognize it.
Mr. Berlin?
Peter Burling, 7 Osprey Drive. I'm sorry, but this takes me back to first year law school. And I guess I'm dazzled at the notions of probable cause between the hours of 1 and 5.
Yeah, like the attorney said, it is a statutorily approved law that allows us to implement the program with consent from the registered owner. So you would sign a consent form when you got the sticker.
But if I loan my car to my neighbor who has to get his wife to the doctor at 4 a.m.
Yep, it's probable cause for a traffic stop. It is not probable cause for arrest.
Okay. I'm not in practice anymore.
Anybody else from the public weighing in here? All right, public comments now closed. I'll open the floor for commissioner discussion. Martin?
Give me a sticker.
Okay,
I need 3.
okay.
No problems.
Steve, you good?
I'm good with it.
Good.
It's voluntary.
Voluntary, right. I think
Make a
anything.
motion, make a motion to approve, to adopt ordinance number 2022-04 on first reading.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mayor, just if you want to speed things along,
Yes.
and dispense with the reading of the ordinances if you would like to. It takes a
All
lot
right.
of time.
Yeah, they're up there. Everybody can see them if they need. All right. All right, 12. First reading and adoption. Okay, who are we going to talk to here first about this? Yeah, okay, let's go with town attorney. Would you please fill us in on the,
Yes, Madam Mayor, this ordinance on first reading is an amendment to section 6751. It's to give the building official the ability to waive the requirement of a letter of credit in the event of an interior or partial demolition. As you may recall, we changed the code back in April of 2021 to require a letter of credit for all demolitions. That issue came up in October of 2021. The town commission directed staff to look at this issue and see if we needed a letter of credit in all demolitions. The issue was brought before planning and zoning with a proposed ordinance to give the discretion to the building official. And they looked at it, the language that was crafted by staff, and said they wanted to also make sure that in his discretion, he makes a determination, the building official that is, that there would be limited adverse impact and no life safety issues. The no life safety issues was added by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so before you on first reading is to give this discretion to the building official to waive the requirement of a letter of credit on a partial or interior demolition.
all right, building official guy, do you have anything to add to Attorney Godot's summary? All right, good. Opening to public comment. All right, public comment closed. Open the floor, commissioner discussion. Martin?
Is there any mechanism to appeal the decision of the building official?
Absolutely, you can always appeal the building official's determination to the Board of Adjustment.
Martin?
My comment on it is, I said that several times, the life safety issue for me is not an issue that should be in that ordinance. I disagree with the Planning and Zoning Commission on that. For me, life safety, the building official has the tools to just shut down a construction site, red tag it, close it down, and make sure that nobody gets hurt on that job site. I don't see where that needs to be on a letter of credit. Other than that, I have no issues with it, but I would make the exemption of taking that life safety part of it out.
My only thing is Durrani informed me, which was good news to me, because, you know, I think we're kind of overreaching on a lot of these ordinances, is that if I go to rip up my walk, which is extensive, and replace it, that's not considered a demolition. If I go to rip up my pool deck, that is not considered a demolition. Is that correct, Troy?
Yes.
All right, that's all I need to hear on the record.
Ripping up your pool deck?
Have you seen my pool deck?
No.
Or walk?
No.
Jeff?
No, that was the only question, if there's a mechanism for that.
Good deal. Christine? Good. Right, I think we went over this through our staff meeting, so I'm fine with it as well. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2022-05 on first reading.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
All right, motion carries. Are we 4-1? All right, there's number 12, number 13, moving right along here. So we have another first reading of an ordinance. Town Attorney Godot, would you like to fill us in, summarize?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is an amendment to section 56, regarding development plan review. As you may recall, in a joint workshop with the Planning and Zoning Commission in November of 2021, there was a request to add to their development plan review the option to defer their decision to have the applicant look at some comments, respond to those comments, and come back for another meeting on the Planning and Zoning Commission's comments in their development review. In reviewing this section, which the commission directed staff to go ahead and amend, reviewing this section, we also found a couple issues. The intent was that the Planning and Zoning Commission would review a site plan, which part of the site plan is your landscape plan. But in this section of 6356, it specifically does not mention landscape plan. So there is a provision to add that in to clarify that that's what they've been doing all along. In having Planning and Zoning Commission review this, they also asked in section 1B that we clarify and add the language and site to 2 subsections there to further clarify that language, that they're not just looking at buildings and structures, but looking at a holistic approach to each site plan. So those are the proposed amendments to ordinance 6356.
All right, open to public comment. Input? Rick, anything to add there?
If you have
You're
any
good.
questions, I'm here for you.
Okay. So I'll close public comment. I'll open it up for commissioner comments. Martin?
Sat through those meetings, everything's good with me.
I'm a no on this. We already have codes in place that dictate what you need for landscaping, what you need for shade, what kind of trees you can plant, drainage areas, where you can plant them near your septic field. What we're doing is what always makes me queasy, and now we're throwing more quease on it. The planning and zoning has stumbled into personal taste on the building and the structure and the look of the property, let's call it. And now they want to add in landscaping. I do not want a P&Z ARC board telling me what kind of landscaping I can and can't have. It is already covered by code and by actually some state laws. So no, I'm a no on this.
All right, Jeff?
I agree. I'm a no too, because it's being too subjective. It says building and site should be harmonious to the surrounding houses. If every 4 houses on this side and 4 houses on this side have palm trees and bougainvillea, if I want xeriscaping, that's not harmonious. So now that's a decision that the board now made. But my decision is when I want to put xeriscaping, which is what it's supposed to be, water, you want that water. But in this, the way this is written, that is not harmonious with the surrounding properties and the surrounding site. So that's why I'm saying no.
Christine?
I'm in favor of giving planning and zoning. They obviously think through what they need and what's missing to make them more effective for the community, and I'm in full support of whatever they want.
I agree. I sat through those meetings as well. I thought they were proper. So let's, I'll entertain a motion on adopting ordinance 2022-06.
Move to adopt motion 2022-06 on first reading.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
All
No.
right, vote carries 3-2. All right, where are we now? 14? All right, first reading and adoption of ordinance 2022-07. Who's going to be the information person here? Christy, you're up again.
Okay, Madam Mayor, thank you. On first reading, this is an amendment to section 64-6. As you may know, the town received a request to rezone the parcels that Palm Beach County owns west of here that are partially submerged properties with mangroves. And looking at the town's current code in 64-6 for what's required to rezone your property to preservation conservation, one of the requirements is that you must have a survey, and oftentimes with these types of properties, there's not a completed survey, and that can be quite expensive, especially if it's partially submerged. So in order to encourage vacant properties to be rezoned to preservation conservation, we have proposed an amendment to this section to delete the requirement for a survey. Other requirements are still left in place with some minor tweaks. This would be consistent with the town's comprehensive plan to encourage the conservation preservations of wetlands and mangroves areas. and would allow them for Palm Beach County's request for rezoning to be heard sooner rather than later and at much less cost. And this is limited to vacant parcels that are going to be requested to be rezoned to preservation and conservation. It's also a little bit of a cleanup because the code currently refers to it as the C Conservation District, but the comp plan in our plume refers to it as Preservation Conservation District. So it's also making some of the language consistent.
All right then, that's a nice summary. So do we have any comment from the public? Betty?
Would this type of ordinance affect a piece of property that you want to buy for $2 million? Because there's a piece of PC property right in the middle of that. Plus the fact that the whole area along in the waterway would fall into the category of wetland sites. So would it affect that? And would it then become non-buildable?
It would affect, Madam Mayor, if I may respond to that. It would affect the county's other parcels that they own that are not currently zoned as preservation conservation to simply allow them to forego a survey. In terms of the town's purchase of property, if the town wanted to rezone it to preservation conservation, which I believe is ultimately one of the goals that the commission would consider, we wouldn't have to have a survey as well.
It wouldn't give you the ability to try and get that land, which it should have been a long time ago.
But it doesn't change that, pursuing that purchase.
I know, right? All right, public comment is now closed. I'll open the floor for commission discussion. Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That triggered something in me. When we buy the swampland, do we have title insurance?
Yes, I believe that is part of the closing. We haven't gotten that far, but yes.
They'll
we'll
give
make
title
sure.
insurance? So maybe you can put a little note, just 'cause I'm genuinely curious.
I'll follow up. Yep.
That's a good one.
Martin.
And can we get more title insurance? Perfectly fine. You're downsizing a property. To your comment, Betty, what this is about is if you decide that you have a single family home property and you want to downsize it to be preservation conservation, you don't have to go through the expense of actually providing a survey or getting a survey to do that, to basically downgrade your property from residential to preservation conservation. That's what this ordinance is about.
Making it easier. Steve?
I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Good, Steve? I'm good as well. All right, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 2022-07 on first reading.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2022-07 on first reading.
Second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Mayor, number 16 will be deferred to the special meeting
Okay.
in conjunction with your.
Okay, then, let's see.
We're
So
closing
now
right
we
through.
are 17, closing in.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
lose my bet.
That one. All right. This one, resolution 2022. Who's going to summarize this one for us? Town manager?
Yes, thank you. The town attorney recommends that the town commission formalize the Old Ocean Boulevard Pedestrian Safety Task Force. The task force may hold meetings to discuss its objective, implementation of the same, and any issues with accomplishment of its objective. Since the task force's objective is limited to gathering data, the task force shall not be subject to Florida Sunshine Law. However, if the task force desires at any point to make a recommendation to the town based upon the data it gathers, the task force will become subject to the Sunshine Law and its strict compliance therewith. So basically, when we had these discussions before, we asked for direction as to what the task force was going to do, and it was kind of loose at that point. It was just, direction to hold a workshop. So we really need to figure out, do you want them just to gather data, Or do you want them to gather data and form a recommendation back to you? If you do, they'll be subject to sunshine laws. The other thing that we need to discuss is, we discussed at the last meeting, hiring a professional facilitator to oversee the task force meetings. You decided not to go that route. I've had a few calls from members of the task force. They want a professional facilitator. I recommend it. I'd like you to reconsider that.
All right, so let's, I think that's a good summary of what we're going to be discussing here this evening. So I should open to the public. Let's get our input here. Public comment. Carolyn's coming first.
Hi, Carolyn Cassidy, 7 Hudson. First, congratulations, Mayor and Vice Mayor. I'm really looking forward to serving on this committee, which I think even in my head as a committee, when you call it a task force, I feel like I'm answering to Chief Jones. So one of my questions is, can we call it something less harsh than a force, a task force? A task committee or a focus group. And as far as the sunshine laws go, if we're working together as a group of residents in just evaluating, discussing possibilities, and gathering data, of course, we're gathering data with the intent to present it to somebody. I mean, it's never going to be just for the sake of gathering the data. But why would a committee doing something like this regarding safety be considered subject to sunshine laws?
If you're going to formulate a recommendation, once you gather that data, then you would.
So at
according to
that
the state
point,
statutes,
at
yeah.
that point, okay. I mean, even though none of us is a member of the commission or a
Yeah.
formal,
Yeah, it's a state
appointed
statute.
committee, okay. And then regarding the professional facilitator, I am strongly against that. This is a group of residents in a friendly, meetings or, situation, and I don't see why we need to spend town money and have someone basically controlling the discussion. I think it's highly unnecessary.
Thank you. Anybody else? Joanne, I saw you about to stand up.
So Ann Hennigan, 91 Island Drive South. I really just have a question. In terms of gathering data, former Mayor Jeff here, I think you've mentioned in the past that there had been surveys or things done in the past. Do you know, or have you been able to gather whatever data had been collected in the past? I mean, you're sort
Oh,
of.
yeah, I made an email. Who did I sent to?
I asked you for it, but
I sent to somebody. I sent you. Sent to somebody. I don't know.
What's the data revolver at?
All the old, not just discussions, but all there was a study done. In fact, the
Traffic
town
study?
spent $7,500 on it. So I can email it to you.
I think that whoever's on this group needs to have it. I mean, why reinvent the wheel? I can't imagine that whatever is going on now is much different from what went on whenever.
Yeah, it's literally I made it into a separate file, so it's an electronic file now. So it's got everything, I scanned everything, and it's all in one
I
file.
mean, if that's the starting point,
I think I sent it to Jerry. Wow.
would be a fabulous starting point from which they can take off.
All right.
All right.
Any other comments? Come on up. Don't be sorry.
Sorry to speak so late. My name is Brian Jopp from 11 Tropical. I just wanted to voice that. I just want to make sure that the conversation remains as public as possible. I think outside of our beaches, that stretch of road is like one of the best things about this town. Something that my family and I enjoy. So I just don't want to see the conversation narrow in its participants. Like it's a task force, and then that task force has the ability to meet independently. I like the results and the conversation stay fluid and open to the public because I think it's important for all.
It is open to the public, so that's fine. Everybody's welcome to come.
I'm new to this, so I'll just.
All right.
Wondered who you were. Welcome, Rick. Come speak.
Rick Carey, 39 Spanish River Drive. I hate to say anything at this late hour, but I think this whole question about sunshine or no sunshine is a tricky one. You put a group together. They're there to form opinions. If they're gathering data, they're not going to give you raw data. They're going to selectively give you data. Even if they say, here's our report, that's in a form of a recommendation, in my opinion. And I think I find as I know the 5 of you do the sunshine law, frustrating when you can't talk to one of the other commission members that you're with outside of the sunshine. But I think if we want to be careful about this, and get anything out of the task force other than a bunch of raw data, you got to put it in the sunshine. Christie says I'm wrong.
No.
She wouldn't.
Christie never has an opinion.
Well, with the, Madam Mayor, if I may,
Please.
the sunshine, the way it's been construed by the courts is very broad, in that when you're making an official decision that's going to come before this body for action, every step in the process is seen by the courts as subject to sunshine. So when you create a committee, it's going to make a recommendation that's going to come up to this board. The courts have said they are subject to sunshine. That includes selection committees for our procurement. That includes these types of task force or committees that are set up by the commission. However, the courts have made a distinction that if all they're doing is fact finding, they are not subject to sunshine. But as Mr. Carey and Commissioner Claus have pointed out, there are a gray area of when it becomes fact finding and now it's becoming a recommending body. So there's 2 ways to handle it.
Okay.
If you want to sanction them as an official committee that's ultimately going to be making a recommendation to the commission, just make them subject to sunshine. Then every meeting has to be publicly noticed. They can't talk to each other outside the public meeting, and the public has to have access to their meetings. There also becomes a staff element with that, because now someone has to do minutes.
Do you need a lawyer there too?
No, you don't always need a lawyer, but there is a staff element to
Right.
it when you make them subject to sunshine. Just there needs to be some oversight to make sure they're playing by the rules. The other alternative is they could be a garden club, where they're completely a separate
Oh, Lord,
body.
Tristan.
They're separate club, never subject to sunshine. They can do what they want to do, and they're not subject to sunshine. So those are your 2 options. We try to find a middle ground because the initial discussion was maybe they're just fact finding.
Right.
If that's now blurred into they're ultimately going to be making a recommendation, then you've got 2 options.
Well, I got a question. And then if I have a homeowner association, we all get together, and we're going to have a get together, and we're going to basically, we want to change our island. And we all get together and we make plans, we talk, we do all this stuff, we bring a recommendation up here to the commission. This is what we want to do. Now, that's not subject to sunshine.
Because you're non-sanctioned.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I
And
think
you're
we're
ma-
going a little bit overboard on this whole thing. I think what happens is that this group should be considered as a group of people who have gotten together who want to talk about changing or doing something in Old Ocean. And there's going to be times where you're going to have to talk to somebody, or, well, you on the thing, you're going to be on on this, whatever it is, task force. But I really don't think that the town, it should be something that the residents get together and do. They talk amongst themselves. Maybe the town supplies them the space that they can talk, if that's okay. If it's not, then I guess they can meet at Pete's house. But the bottom line is, then they present, hey, this is what we went through and we all did, and this is what basically we came up with as a group. Because I don't see how you would get around the sunshine law, because you're out there talking with your neighbor, hey, this, we want to do this, and your neighbor's part of the group. It becomes very problematic when it's.
Well, that's what we're discussing.
So-
So is there any way that we can kind of find a happy medium? Because
No.
when I brought
No, there's no happy
let me finish.
Well, I was
When I
saying-
first brought it up, it was basically about coming together and coming up with data, right? Weren't even recommendations, weren't even part of the deal. Let's see if we're all on the same page with our various issues that we have, from traffic to pedestrians to speeding to stop signs, what have you. It's kind of morphed into the task force, which is there when it went. So could we, by chance, continue it similar to where you were going with this, but it's still by the group that, so it doesn't become a little too unwieldy, that keeps it out of the sunshine by just gathering data. After we have our data, if we want to go to phase 2, which is pull our data together with our manager and our police chief and start looking at possible forward movement for recommendations, that could be a second group, a second step, shall I say. Doesn't have to be a second group, could be a second step.
So the first one would be the data gathering. I'm all for, as you know, a professional facilitator, so it doesn't unwind. And that way, then we get the data together, and then there could be phase 2 where then we can discuss, maybe even whittle it down a little bit by that point to a sunshine law worthy crew.
So can I say something on that?
Yeah.
And you'll watch Christie's head explode. So what you're doing there, basically, if you read this paragraph that's put together, right? And I understand Christie has pressures from various commissions and what she's trying to do here. But we're constructing a design to subvert state law. That's basically what we're doing, to get around state law. We're saying it's a fact-finding committee, right? So if I'm on the committee and Christine's on the committee and we're fact-finding, and Christine says to me, outside here, we're at the coffee shop, and she goes, you know, speed bump would take care of that. Whoop, that's sunshine. So it's this construct here will never work. You're going to have staff involved. You're going to have sunshine involved. You can't discuss anything of import that would help Old Ocean. Or, as Christie told me, you can do a non-sanctioned committee, which is a citizens committee, which I know there's at least 2 of them that have already been created on the Old Ocean issue. So there's citizens that are meeting in driveways, discussing the issues and the solutions. So I think this entire task force concept ought to be given to the citizens, the residents, to have their own meeting. And we need people right now. I know there's one in the central, one in the south, but we need one. Well, actually, Old Ocean really doesn't affect you guys, right? Yeah. So I think this whole thing,
Part of the town.
I love the, well, she just shook her head. No, she didn't want it. Joanne. Oh, go ahead, form one. I don't care. It's a citizens committee type thing where then you guys can come to here clean without having to worry about sunshine and discuss all the wonderful ideas.
So here's my consideration, and I don't disagree with you. I think we pulled the trigger before we even thought this
Right.
through. It's ridiculous to have a group of 18 people, particularly if they don't represent the entire town. 18 people are never going to agree upon anything. And if you read the list of the 18 people, good luck. And I think without professional leadership in some form or fashion, it would just make you guys a lot more productive, because there's a lot of big personalities, and I don't think you're going to get anything off the ground without some objective leadership. That's all I've got to say. I don't care how you structure it. I just think the whole thing is a bit bereft. I think the concept is good, and unfortunately we do this every 10 years. So
Yeah. I think it's going to be grassroots, and you're going to be surprised.
Well, we
People are
might
gonna
get
bring
someone,
back-
but not everybody gets included in these little individuals.
Well, we got 18 names. Just make sure they join some group.
Okay,
Well, I
so
mean, don't you think you guys are selling the residents short a little bit? You don't think that they all can get together and make a decision? I mean, all these people have 18 names here, whether they may get along, they're strong personalities or not. Yeah, I think you're not giving them the opportunity to basically start a committee on their own, get the information out. They volunteered, I believe they would all come together. Now, if somebody doesn't like it, they can leave one committee, but it still becomes a citizen committee. It's not anything to do with the town in the sense of us up here, the staff.
yeah, I don't want the town to
running
be
it.
involved at all.
If have somebody running it and us paying for it, doesn't that automatically, Christie? If we pay for facilitator, does that automatically make that now part of the town?
Not necessarily. There are 7 factors that you look at to determine whether or not.
How many
private-
factors?
7.
Seven?
A private entity is subject to the sunshine law. That would be one of the factors. But alone, I would say providing a facilitator to a group of citizens would not be enough to push them over. And oftentimes you look at funds intertwining beyond that, an overlap of duties and responsibilities.
Can I make a very,
you have
an
observation to make here?
Way too shallow, but if these people want to get together, let them get together.
Yeah, there you go.
If 18 people want to get together and duke it out.
If these people don't want to get together, they don't have to.
Okay, so
At this point,
what are you
I
hearing
think what we were looking for is we had complaints about Old Ocean. And it was suggested that the residents should look into this and come up with solutions. Come up with
And that
solutions.
is occurred.
Okay, so what we'll do.
But in this
Right
case,
here,
we need to take ourselves out
Divorce
of this.
ourselves, totally.
The entire town, not on town property. There will be no minutes.
Oh,
There will
not
be
on
no.
town property?
Not on
No,
town
they're
property.
talking
You
about
wanna
just
get
letting people do
together,
their own thing.
you want to get together in Steve's backyard,
Yep.
get together in Steve's
Let me
backyard.
just say one, Mayor, if I may, one
If
point
I-
on
Please,
that.
please.
We don't discriminate against who can use our town facilities. We rent.
Oh,
to all.
That's true. That's
They could-
true.
they
We're
could
here
use
for
the
many
town's,
things.
They could use the
Okay,
town's
so-
thing, just like any other group.
So Tracy, what are
Yeah,
you
but-
hearing out
So
of
what I'm hearing is you would
The money
like
gets returned.
the residents to go
Okay.
ahead and form this group. We already have the names. What I can do is send this information to this group saying, here's your date and time to meet here at town hall. Staff is not involved with this. So the residents, here's your date and time, you meet here, and then you run with it.
Share the emails with put an email out with the 18 people that have expressed an interest in it. Put an email to everybody, not blind copy them on everyone. Make it like a whole group email
Which we
and
already
say,
did.
listen, guys, here's everybody.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah, I
not in
wouldn't say
favor of
that.
a
I
professional?
wouldn't
wouldn't pick their time. I
I'm
wouldn't
not
pick
even
their
gonna tell you
date.
when you want to meet.
That's fine.
Yep.
We already did, but we'll back off from that.
Okay, so
Say,
basically we're going to
no
blow
more
off.
date and
And-
time. run
And
with
if this does not work, if there's nothing coming out of that group, then we can come back and regroup here and say, okay, now we are taking control of this and we are creating a group. But if they come up with fantastic ideas and they come up with their own.
Well, basically, that was the whole idea, was for the citizens to come up with the ideas.
Yeah, but.
Wait,
if they-
wait,
if they
wait,
need to
wait,
go-
wait, wait. Citizens to come up with the ideas, but the facilitator to make it happen, because 18 people in a room flying. But listen,
Don't
listen,
have 18,
Wait,
break my neck.
hold on.
Only
hold
can do
on.
what
We're
they want.
talking
Right.
about the original concept here, and then morphed into just verbiage, I think, for people out task force, but that's just a term for having a group together with a professional facilitator that can again break them into groups. This guy does this guy, because I've been in part of these before, and let me tell you, 18 people without any leadership goes downhill real quick.
Not our
So
problem.
if we're totally hands off here, and what I'm hearing is basically nobody wants to follow through with a professional, right? I don't think we're getting consensus on a professional, then maybe we just back off and let them do their little homeowners.
Yeah, I'll just simply send an email out to the original group and just say,
They're on
the
their own.
town commission has said, you're on your own, make your own date and time, get together.
Yeah, because I don't think we're gonna, I'm taking the temperature here, and it doesn't look
To
right.
get 18
How many
people to
people we
agree
have
on a
on
That's
time
what I'm
and
saying.
date, I think
many
it's
of
going to
you
be a
have in-
non-starter
But that's
anyway.
what I'm saying. So,
You're in there, Carol. So we have two already in here. And I have full confidence that
join
they
me.
can actually come up with something.
They
So-
can come up with
Okay.
recommendations.
yeah, yeah,
And
that's
that's
still
the
talk
whole
to
Well,
each other.
No, but they can
No,
because
they
they
absolutely can. That's a misstatement.
They
Well,
can because
absolutely
they're not
can, because
sanctioned.
It's a private
Right,
citizen group. They can come up here at a meeting. They
Right.
can sit right up there at the meeting, say,
Yeah.
this, our citizens got together, and this is what we
What
would
we
like to
recommend
see
to-
happen on motion. So that was completely wrong. They can make a recommendation because they're not under the sunshine.
And they're not sanctioned by the
Okay?
town.
It's a
We're not gonna
private
do it.
citizen group, just like any homeowner association, any group of neighbors that get together, that come here and want to have something done on their street, a street light change. It's the same thing.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay.
I understand, but
So-
see, the things, you gotta be careful with how you word that stuff, because what happens is it changes the dynamic of what they're trying to do.
So,
I think we should move on.
okay, so,
with it.
well, yes, I'm
I
trying
just
to
want-
get there, but we're doing a lot of talking. So.
I just want to
basic-
make
Okay.
one more comment.
Have at it.
Just to be real clear, because I think there was some discussion. This group would be more than welcome to meet in town hall if you agree upon a date and time. You go through Carla for a rental, you have to put a $250 deposit down. You get that back at the end. So you don't have to pay, but it's a damage control type thing.
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is basically the majority is going for really no town involvement, no professional facilitator. They're going to meet together and have their discussions, and if they come up with something, they take the next step and follow through. Right?
No, if they come up with something, they're gonna walk to this
Well, that
podium.
would, what I just, that's exactly what I just said. All right, so I guess we're done with that one.
So we gotta-
We need a
we're
consensus. What's how we
disbanding
do?
this
Just consensus.
Okay, do you have a consensus?
You want to hear from Peter?
As one of the two people on this citizens grouping, it would be very helpful if we knew what times this facility might be available to us And you've already answered us, Madam Vice Mayor, a $250 deposit would be required.
Yeah.
We can help you out.
Yeah, it's very easy.
We will take care of it.
Garden Club does it every month, very
Yeah,
simple.
we'll share a calendar.
All right, so consensus that
We do not formalize the Old Ocean Boulevard. pedestrian
consensus
safety.
that we are not going forward with the Old Ocean task force. Yes?
Yes.
All right, all right. So that makes number 17 done. All right, 18. Resolution 2022-11, amending town fee schedule. So that would be Town Manager Stevens. Would you please advise us on this?
Yes, I have put forth a fee schedule change for you. The changes are in your package. There are 6 changes. Carla, if you could put those up so that the public can see what those are.
Right.
So those are the changes.
All right. We all have them in our package. I think we probably all went through them. Is there any public comment on these fee changes? All right, public comment is closed. I'll open Commissioner.
Oh, boy.
Hit it, Martin.
The number 2, the garage sale permit, in my staff meeting, I spoke to staff about this. I think it's petty to charge $5. I think we can all live with the no fee. So that should be taken out as far as I'm concerned. Everything else, I personally, number 5 is something that I wouldn't do, but okay, it's electric costs.
Right, it does.
It's cost. But I would take out number 2, garage sale permit.
All right, Steve.
So I agree with Martin, get rid of number 2, also number 3, rental registration. The way I'm reading this is if I rent my oceanfront house for $100,000 for a month, I pay $35. I know there were some people in Tropical waiting for this item, but it just got too late for them. If I have 8 units that are renting for $1,000, in other words, $8,000 a month, I'm paying 35 times 8 to register. So, and we went through this 5 or 6 years ago on this registration thing. And we decided that as long as the building was registered, that alerted the cops that this was a rental area. And we did not invade the privacy of the renter, which this does not, but it seems, I understand our intent and I kind of agree with it, but it's not fair.
So what we do now is on a rental registration application, you can put as many properties as you want for rent on one.
That's not what is explained to me in my meeting.
No, that's.
It says from $35 per application. You're telling me that that's currently how it is, and then it says $235 per unit.
So
So
right
if you
now,
own
on
6
the
houses.
application, If you own 6 properties, you put all 6 properties on that one application, you pay $35.
Well, that's not what this says.
Yeah, that's not how it says though. It says per unit. So if
Yeah.
I,
But
is that per, maybe it should say per property.
Per
Yeah,
property.
right.
Yep,
I just
per
explained it because we talked about this as
So
well.
hold on.
Unit and property.
Then I have a question about that too. So if I own an apartment building here with 8 units, I should be paying $35 for that one property, or should I be paying $35 for each unit?
That's what we're.
That's what we're
That's what it says.
discussing.
Because that's what it says here. But Tracy's saying that's not how they do it. They do it by 30, you can list as many
But
units
is
as
the
you want.
intent to do it to 35 per rental unit, even though it's on the same address, or is it intended to be per address?
we think it's
Per
written,
parcel.
Per address.
it's written improperly the
Okay,
way
so
we're
then-
looking at it.
Then we just need to
Trace,
clarify.
I mean, Chrissy,
Are
can
we
you
okay
see where
with
the
the per
confusion
address?
is here and maybe help with how it's
Well, then it
written?
shouldn't change at all. It's $35
Right.
per application, if that's
Well,
what
that's
you
what
No,
said.
but in the
Well,
application, you're
no,
gonna
because
have
on the
10
application, if you
different
own 6
addresses.
But that's what Tracy just said is allowed.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
Right, but
not
you
after
said
the-
you can put them
No,
all
we're getting rid of it.
on the
On
same
one
application.
application, and it's only $35.
Right, but so how does it?
Chrissy, are you
says
understanding the
per
confusion
application.
here?
That's what it is.
So
So
that,
you're saying your application,
No, per
and I
property.
can put 10 properties on.
Currently, you can, yes.
Right, so it says.
Tracy, the difference between property and units.
$35 per
Correct.
application.
per address.
It's already there.
Chrissy, would you address
No,
the
you don't have to
confusion
do
here?
it by address.
Eat your Snickers.
So Madam Mayor, the way I understand this is currently,
I'm open up
when
my
you
chat.
apply for your rental registration, if you have 10 rental units, you can put them all on one application. What the fee is changing to is now you would have to pay $35 per rental unit, as opposed to one rental registration fee of $35 to cover all those units. So Commissioner Cos, your initial comment, I believe it was yours, that if you rent your house at $100,000, you would only under the new fee, pay $135 fee.
It gets worse. If I have two houses on the ocean, 100,000 each, I still only pay $35.
So we're saying
Currently.
switch that to 70,
Right.
Correct.
but if you have a
No,
multifamily.
I'm not saying that. Oh,
No, no, that's what
multifamily?
the-
Go ahead.
Yeah, but if you have a multifamily, it is per parcel or per property. It's just the
Okay.
word unit.
Okay.
Per unit, like
How
a
about
dwelling.
No, change the word unit. It's
Change the word
Per
unit to
property.
address.
No, or
That's all
property.
it needs to be.
per parcel, per property.
But that doesn't give you what we're looking for.
We
Yes,
may
it
need
does.
to
Yes,
actually
it does.
change the ordinance then.
Right.
Because the underlying ordinance talks about registration, which you can include all your units on. So we're changing the fee to now the fee be based per unit, even though it can be on one
How
application.
many houses are there, or how many of
I
these
don't think
things
that
are
is-
there in the first place that we need to
Well,
discuss?
the
this?
underlying ordinance uses
Are there
that
that
language,
many?
so
Right,
the
we-
changing fee is just using the same language.
Or are we
which is
just spinning our
confusing.
wheels? here?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so you can do that, right? Change this?
I'd like to make a motion to defer resolution number 2022-11 until we change the ordinance that is applicable to rental registration and or just remove number 3 from this ordinance tonight and pass it with number 3 removed.
Can I
We'll
interrupt?
wait a
do
minute.
it that way
Hold on,
instead,
Yes,
because
okay.
we need to cover the other items.
Right. So also, we did hear Martin's request to pull the garage sale thing out, so consider that in your motion. Just saying.
Nah,
So if we get rid of 2 and 3, we're fine. Just get rid of it. Well, you
I
suggested.
don't care about 2, really.
So why don't you just do this? Why don't you just approve the top half and just have the staff come back with the second half that we also recommended?
Christie, can you figure out what they want and maybe
Oh my God.
give a concept here?
We're
Yeah,
gonna
Now
have to
we
he's
have
on
a
top
simpletons
half.
if we don't.
I know, that's what
I
I'm
believe
saying.
we have a motion on the floor. Did
Yes,
you make this as a
I did
motion?
make this as a
All right, so
motion.
we have a
didn't hear it
motion
all
on
the
the
way.
floor. Is
That
there a
we,
second?
What was the motion?
Yeah, what's the motion?
okay, I'm gonna revise my motion. I move to adopt resolution number 2022-11, amending the town fee schedule, removing number 3 rental registration until the ordinance that is associated with this is at the language that we all would prefer.
Can you add number 2?
Yes, can you add
Oh,
it to?
come
Come
on.
on. I mean, come on,
Sure.
garage sale, $5.
Sure. Number 2, number 3.
Second.
There you go.
Good Lord. Okay, people. All in favor, signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously.
There was one garage sale permit fee application in the last year.
That's what I was.
We just
Oh, take the
spent
$5.
15
Let's go. Let's
minutes.
get out of here,
We
guys.
just spent 15
Hey,
minutes over
I'm not
$5.
doing the talking. All right, so we are now on, where are we, 18? No, I'm kidding.
19.
That's what I thought, 19, okay. Oh, 19, designation of voting delegate and alternates to Palm Beach County League of Cities. Town manager, would you please? No.
Yeah, this is an annual Palm Beach County Media Cities delegate authorization to have the town manager serve as the primary voting delegate and all town commissioners as alternates.
All right.
Done.
Public comment? Wait a minute. Public comment. Public comment closed. Any of y'all? Let's start with Martin. We good?
Good.
Steve?
Yep.
Jeff?
I'm good.
Christine?
Yep.
Me? Good? Okay, let's
Move to
call
adopt.
Leah. Okay, so do we need an actual motion here, right?
Yeah, move to
Entertain a
adopt.
motion. Okay,
Move to
second,
adopt.
need a second?
Second.
Move on.
All right, all in favor signify?
Aye.
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 All
Rick's
right,
still here.
unanimous. I know, that's because Rick has something to
Is there
tell us.
anything important here, Rick? It's serious. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, Rick,
Item 20,
please.
if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank
as always.
Thank you.
Sorry to
All
keep
right.
you.
Town manager, would you
Enjoy.
present the town manager's report, please?
The report was included in your packages. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Okay, I just want to bring everybody's attention to the Turtle Talk. Great success. We had 80+ people and it went beautiful. All right. So we have Town Attorney Godot. Do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Fabulous. Okay, Chief Jones.
My report is attached. If you have questions, please ask. However, there are two items as part of my report that I actually do need you to provide some guidance.
All right.
The first issue is the sailboat that all of you are aware of that's on the beach. We need to proceed with that. We currently have an agreement out with the owner of that boat for them to sign the boat over to the town so that we can forego any delays in removing the boat so that we don't run into issues with turtle season and or costs that will be 2 to 3 times greater than what they currently are to remove the boat today. So the cost has been estimated to be approximately $14,000. That is to remove the boat by water. If we do not remove it now and we end up having to remove it with the use of a crane, we will be at $25,000 to $30,000, and we will not be able to do it any other way until after November when turtle season ends. So I'm asking you, although it is an expense that the town has to incur, I have reached out to the state, the county, and every other entity we can possibly think of. No one is interested in helping us remove the vessel unless we go through the time process that requires us to go 60 to 90 days, which will then force us to have expenses that are much greater.
And we'll bump into hurricane season.
And we'll bump into hurricane season. And to be completely honest with you, the boat has actually shifted somewhat in the last several days, and the sand is not near as built up as it was. So we might be able to get it out for a little bit cheaper than what we estimated it at. But not only is it being removed, it's also being destroyed because of its condition. So all those costs are associated with the proposal that I presented to the commission tonight.
Demolition.
I did have a conversation with Vice Mayor in Highland Beach, and they were able to get a grant or something similar. So I had given that information to Tracy. I don't know if that'll apply or not, but.
That's a weird grant, huh?
There was just money that was actually allocated for that.
Derelict boats comes up quite often in the legislative
So you're
sessions.
trying to get this guy to sign a piece of paper. How are you going about getting him to sign a piece of paper?
I've already spoken with him. I've already mailed him the agreement that was drafted by the town attorney, which is.
But isn't he in a homeless shelter?
He is working and living in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So he provided an address where he's received those documents, confirmed receipt today.
He did?
He did.
So I'm just wondering if, I don't know if you can do this as a police officer, to call the police in the local town and collect this, because if this guy disappears to another homeless shelter.
So 2 things that we're working on. Number 1 is getting a photo of it by him using his cell phone, literally after he signs the document, just taking a photo and sending us the photo. And 2, we've provided him with prepaid postage stamped everything, instructions. All he has to do is put it back in once signed and return at no cost. So we've tried to literally make it as simple as we can to expedite the process and get the boat out of here.
What do you need from us, Chief?
I just need you guys.
I think that's from everybody. Pardon me?
So I just need a motion from someone and obviously a full approval from the commission to expend the unbudgeted funds to remove the vessel.
All right, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that town commission allocates $14,000 to the Ocean Ridge Police Department to remove the sailboat just south of Beachway in Ocean Ridge, on the beach.
Do we have a second?
Do we need?
Oh, I'm sorry.
public
Yeah, I should have probably had public comment if we're gonna, right, move on something.
I think there's.
Just smiling. Okay, so we're good. We need a
I'll
second?
second it.
It is, you're
All
right.
right, second. All right, let's take a vote. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The second issue that I have for you all is a request to amend the current salary of dispatch positions. We currently have 2 vacancies, which have been open for over 5 weeks now. We've received 2 applicants. One was fired from previous 3 jobs and did not seem like a good fit.
No.
The second one could not succeed the interview process for this position due to her freezing during the process, leaving me with no choice but to obviously not consider her for such a critical position. So during the process of trying to figure out why we were having issues with getting applicants, I began to do some review just by Google searching and looking at job postings throughout our area. and I realized our salary for that position was quite low, approximately $10,000 lower than the average for the areas around us, including those agencies that are similar to us in size. So I've conducted a salary survey, which is enclosed with the report that I've provided you. And although we're about $10,000 below, I'm asking for an adjustment of $7,500 per dispatcher in two categories. One, the current dispatchers that we have being adjusted up by $7,500 per year, which since we're halfway through the year, you're really looking at half of that in this current budget year, which equates to about $15,000. And then for any new positions, we would be able to advertise that starting salary now at an increase of $7,500 for the purpose of attracting applicants for the position rather than allowing them to apply at agencies around us that are offering those kind of salaries. So that's the request I'm making. Based on the numbers that we've run internally and based on our salaries, we can cover the costs of the request in the current budget simply because we've had a vacancy for the last 5 weeks, and we're going to have one for at least the next 5 weeks because I don't have anybody in the queue for background. So I'm not asking for an approval above and beyond budgeted funds, but what I am asking for is obviously an adjustment in salary, and that has to come before the commission.
All right, I'll open that to public comment. Anybody have some input here? All right.
Anybody want a job?
Don't go giving her up, Rob. We'll close commissioner comment. Martin?
This is, it's a no-brainer. It has to be done.
Exactly. Steve, you
Quick
good with
question.
that?
Yes, sir.
On the new dispatch hires, do they fall underneath the Santa's $5,000 bonus?
No, they do not. It only applies to law enforcement.
And dispatch is not considered. Wow.
No.
Okay.
They
Give him a
fall
gun.
first.
All right, I move we
Jeff?
accept the chief's proposal.
I second it.
All right. Dying already. All those in agreement say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, motion carries.
You guys would never make it in
Unanimous.
Delray. We used to have commission meetings till 1 o'clock in the
I
morning.
know, right?
That's not a goal.
No, it's not a goal.
No, but you got a
not
lot
at
of
all.
stuff to cover. What are we gonna do here? So we have Public Works Department, we all have that. We don't have Billy here. Are we looking good?
Yeah, looking great.
Okay.
On the public works though,
Did everybody go through that?
yeah, I did. The one discussion portion, at least out of my staff meeting, was that we were going to hold on any valves. Is that implicit in this report?
No.
But we're not asking for additional monies in this report.
No,
Okay.
no, they're not asking for anything.
Okay.
We're looking good. All right, we're looking good. That's our commissioner comments. Town engineer,
Building
yes,
official.
yes, we get town engineer first.
Nope.
So she's left us, so she ditched us, huh? So we have building official, Mr. Guy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Your report is presented in the package. If you have any questions.
Ready, did you want to talk about the
Yeah, the tug program.
I kind of embellished it a little bit while Steve was here, but it's here for you reading. It's just a program that expedites the single-family home construction by removing the wait time because the meter is already installed and being used as a temporary power. So once the house is approved for permanent electric, there's no wait time. You can immediately move into air conditioning and, installing millwork.
Is there any impact or cost to the town?
No cost. We just have to, have greater scrutiny and if someone does violate the program, we definitely have to go in and do a stop work order if they start turning on power before they actually have the appropriate approvals, and they'll need to sign a new form. And this is actually included in the single-family home application as a choice to the contractor. So if they choose not to do a temporary pole, it's actually a monetary savings.
So if I punch tug into the internet, I can get more information on this?
Yes.
Great.
Do you need consensus to move forward?
Would be nice.
Do we have a consensus by the
Sure,
commission to
absolutely,
follow
sure.
up with Guy?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Fantastic
Consider
program.
And anything
consensus?
that makes it easier and quicker for our residents. And easier for you,
Yeah.
Geronimo.
Yeah, this sounds very good.
Get to, so Sue,
Good job.
I just want to interrupt. Can we make, and it's Martin, it's up to you. I'm tired. I think everybody's punchy. This is when you make bad policies. Can we take number 27, roll the building official, which will take quite a long time, and move it to our meeting next week when we're
I
discussing
will
land?
give you a better one. I'll move 26 and 27 to the next
All right,
meeting.
those are both your
To
commissioner
the eighth,
comments.
to the
storage
12th?
shed.
Do you want
All
it
right,
on the
do we-
12th?
Yeah, we can do it on the 12th. Well, no, but you had only an hour time, right?
Yeah, but the storage shed should be like 5 minutes, right?
He said
All right,
you
if you want to,
don't
if you
have
don't
that
take
much
it on,
time.
yeah.
I don't want,
I'll
I
get
what do you guys
it.
want?
Should we try the storage shed quick?
Storage shed's easy to me. I mean,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so too.
steel,
Okay,
a steel shed in a saltwater environment. I mean,
okay, so
Make
we're
it
gonna go to
pop.
town commissioner comments, purchase of storage facility for public works by Commissioner Hvac. Would you like to enlighten us?
So we have all this equipment that we're purchasing, and basically some of that equipment has been moved now into the garage spaces, and what was supposed to be in the garage space has to move outside. We have discussed that previously to put a storage facility in the back, which is basically an additional garage. Easiest, fastest construction are these steel buildings. They come with warranties, even for our salt environment. And it basically protects the equipment that we're purchasing constantly. Expensive equipment. I think we should put that under cover in a building. $40,000 that Billy has gotten a couple of things, a couple of quotes for. The other thing is that I strongly believe that the cost of these buildings is going to go up drastically over the next few months, probably. Steel will become very expensive.
Do they make them in aluminum?
These are treated. Do they make them in aluminum? Yes, but
We prefer steel, wouldn't we?
It's,
Because it's out there.
Well, I don't,
Treated to.
no, we prefer aluminum over metal for salt air. Yeah, positively.
I thought stainless steel, oh, I don't
But it
know.
depends on your
no,
percentage.
I don't think it's stainless steel either, but they're treated buildings, they're treated structures that have a warranty.
how long?
It's in Billy's package here somewhere.
40? Who's saying that?
Sally back there.
What is the,
What was the last part? 12?
40 years.
40 years limited warranty on the panels,
Oh,
20
limited.
year limited rust through warranty on frame and roof.
you gotta look, one thing about the warranties on the rust thing, when they put in metal roofs in town. A lot of times the unscrupulous roofer will put in a metal roof, but the warranty says if it's in a salt environment
Yeah.
and it's this amount of miles from
Right.
the ocean, it is not covered under warranty. So
Well,
that's
we
something
can-
we may wanna look at.
We can make sure that that's not.
But I do agree with you, there's some, we need to put the stuff in
Right,
check.
right, I do too. So Tracy, how do we move forward? Do we need a consensus to move forward
a
on this? We need to vote
It's a big
for the actual
expenditure.
first?
Well, wait,
Okay,
Well,
so
no,
let's have.
we're voting to do more investigation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought we were just going to.
I think the
This
consensus.
is the storage, yeah. Do we need a
Consensus.
consensus to move
Okay.
forward with the consideration on the
Right.
storage facility? Because it's under
This
commissioner
was for
comments.
discussion. This was not this was just for discussion. Are we all?
It's for discussion, that
Should
way
we-
they can look more into the.
Positive.
the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
makes sense.
So we need a
basically
consensus.
have
Do we have
Billy- have Billy
Yes.
come back.
Okay,
and,
we all have a
explain.
consensus
Yes.
on agreeing? Okay, so we're good with that one. And then the last two have been
I'll
graciously
move mine.
moved on, correct?
We're gonna attempt to do 27 next,
Right.
what date was it? On the
Right.
12th? And the other one, we'll push further.
Right.
Because between Martin and. the other
No, I
thing
get
we're
it.
doing
I
for
get it.
land,
I get it.
it'll take longer
That's not
than that.
rocket science. I get it. All right, so we need a motion to adjourn. Are we all
So
good?
moved.
Second? Yeah, before we go out. Second that motion to adjourn.
You gotta bang the gavel or something.
Yeah, you're out.
Oh, I'm coming after. Hand down.
Ken Phillips.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yeah, in all the years, I never used that.